Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to what marks the halfway point of the 2025 FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship, brought to you by Mastermax Surfacing. And what a place to be. Grab your cider, get in your tractors. We've gone to the West Country. We are here at Clay Pigeon, a round that is sure to provide excitement if anything last year was to go by. And boy, oh boy, are we excited. You join myself, Ross McIntyre, Izzy Higgs alongside me in the commentary box. Izzy, we had a great round last time at Hooter Park. Back again this time on another fast and furious circuit. We're just in the final few minutes of the final qualifying session, so not long to go before we get racing. And boy, oh boy, the emotions, they're running high.
They are, Ross. They are. This weekend so far, we have seen all the qualifying sessions. This is just our last one now. On track at the moment, we have the Pit Bikes 140s. We have got quite a lot of riders in this race for this weekend, so that'll be quite interesting to watch and look out for. But yeah, like Ross was saying, a quick track, a very quick track. We are back here again at Clay Pigeon, and I'm looking forward to it this weekend, Ross.
Oh, it should be superb if last year's racing was anything to go by, especially for these guys in the pit bikes as well. Some brilliant action in 2024, and as you said, a huge grid here for these guys this weekend. 22 riders out there here at Clay Pigeon. We do know that they have a local mini bike racing championship here at Clay, so a lot of the riders turning up just for this one FAB round, almost kind of like just a local track kind of thing, but turn up when the big boys come to play, and it just makes it all that exciting, adds that little bit extra tension into the race, and maybe it can upset the apple cart just a little bit. Hello and welcome. If you are just joining us, don't worry, we are 1 minute and 40 seconds away from the end of the final qualifying session here this weekend. You have not missed any of the action here for round number 4 of the Mastermax FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all of the above to help get these riders' names out there, help promote grassroots British bike racing, and let us know where in the world you are watching from. Let us know who you're supporting, and let us know who you think is going to be on top. And we really are so excited to get this thing going. We had a great round last time, Izzy, as you said, up at Hooting Park. Back down south this time though, so a little bit fairer weather, shall we say. But this is also the last southern round before we head up to Rower and Three Sisters to end the season. What do you think we can expect looking forward into this one?
I think, like you said, Ross, we've got some new riders this weekend. It's a local track for some of them joining us this weekend, so we'll see some different racing styles. We'll see some new faces, perhaps see some new faces up in those top 3 positions. I feel like this weekend anything could happen. We don't really know what to expect this weekend because we have got so many new faces with us, but it's going to be brilliant. Seeing on the camera there, we can see it's a bit cloudy, but it's very warm down here, very quite hot, and that will also make for some good racing. Fingers crossed for no rain this weekend, because that sends it crazy as well. Anything can happen when rain arrives. But yeah, really looking forward to this weekend. Gonna be absolutely brilliant stuff to see everybody, and to everyone who's joined us. Like Ross was saying, this is the grassroots of racing on the road to MotoGP. Kids who would like to one day be one of those top riders up there in MotoGP, this is the place where they start.
It absolutely is, of course. FAB-Racing being part of Dorna's Road to MotoGP programme since 2019. It's the gateway into the R&G British Talent Cup. We've had riders graduating from FAB, going on to MotoGP, going on to World Superbikes, going on to the Bennett's British Superbike Championship. Of course, some of our older riders, maybe unfortunately their Grand Prix career dreams may be a little bit behind them nowadays, but they're still going to get out there and give us a hell of a show. And as you said, Izzy, plenty of new faces here this weekend as a local round for some of these riders. A few returning faces as well, the likes of Ollie Horner on the number 70. That's a name we've not seen in FAB in a long while, but he's out there at the moment in the pit bike 142nd, only down the road from his hometown of Salisbury here at Clay Pigeon. And he's currently, actually, as the checkered flag comes out in the final qualifying session, stuck it second at the end of that one. Of course, we have to wait and see, have to get the final confirmations on all of our qualifying, so we'll let you know what all the grids are heading into our race 1s later on, and then of course all of our race 2s and 3s that we have coming to you on Sunday. And as we get ready to go racing here, cast your mind back to the absolute amazing scenes we had here in 2024. Just action-packed racing from start to finish, and it really was something special. And we are hoping this year in 2025, when it's slightly earlier in the year, last year it was the penultimate round here at Clay Pigeon, saw a few people wrapping up championships here. In fact, this year a little bit earlier in the year, so temperatures maybe just that bit higher. We're sitting at around about 20 degrees at the moment with a slight wind in the air, so conditions pretty optimum for racing. But we're getting ready for our first race of the weekend, the AC40 Pros. They'll be coming up shortly. In fact, you can just see a few of them there behind the Armco, sitting in the dummy holding area, waiting to go racing. And it's been a fantastic season for these guys so far. We're really excited to see what they can do.
Exactly. This year we've got the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites. They have combined for this year, so we have got the liquid cools in with the air cools, which has provided for some interesting racing. Those on the liquid cooled they are two separate races. Although they are combined on track at the same time, they are two different championships that are being ran this year. But like was saying, every weekend these guys have given us some fantastic racing, brilliant stuff we are seeing from them. And on our screens right now we can see some of the spectators, and at each round this year we are just getting more and more spectators joining us, which has just been absolutely brilliant stuff to see. All the support for FAB-Racing, Ross.
Going international here at FAB-Racing, who'd have thought it? But as the AC40 Pros get ready to head out to the grid, they'll head out on one sighting lap, which I believe they're going to get brought to a stop to before they do so, and then it'll be time to go racing. So let's get things kick-started here at Clay Pigeon. Time then for the opening race of the weekend here. 13 riders await us in this AC40 Pro and LC40 Elite combined race. And it should be very interesting to see, of course. What else would it be? It's our two LC40 Elite riders on the front row with Maxwell Keats and Jensen Cedras, but looking very, very tight behind them as well. So this could be very interesting. Let's run through the grid for you. It is Keats that starts on pole. Alongside him, Jensen Cedras on the other liquid cool bike and currently the championship leader in the LC40 Elite category. P3, Joey Athersic heads up the AC40 Pro grid with Danny Longhurst alongside in P4. Tommy Williams starts fifth with Freddie Taylor in P6. Claudia Dubman and Henry Brody are on the fourth row with Reed Saxelby in P9 and Emerson Oakley in P10. Cooper Sayers 11th with Ethan Bayliss in P12 and Oliver Wilson in P13. So we are looking forward to this one. 13 riders await us, and it should be fascinating to see how this is going to unfold. I believe we should be getting sent around on our sighting lap in just a short moment, and indeed we are. So the riders will make their way around for one quick one. Interesting to note here, Izzy, before we get going, it is, as we said earlier, a very, very quick lap here. It's actually one of the shortest lap deltas between almost junior riders on the slower bikes and the senior riders on the bigger bikes. It's only about really a 6-7 second difference in the lap time between them. It just shows that even for our youngest riders on the mini motos, how quick it is out there.
Exactly, Ross. And like we were saying earlier, this track is brilliant. We've got quite a few left-handers, right-handers. We've got a little chicane in there. And like we were saying, the lap time these guys have been putting in so far this weekend have been really, really quick. So like our last round, we are looking for some brilliant racing from these guys here. Once again, our front two runners of the grid, Maxwell Keats on the number 24 and Jensen Cedras on the number 2. These are our guys running on those liquid cooled bikes in that separate championship to everybody else on the AC40s. But absolutely amazing stuff. They are just coming in now from that out lap, ready to form the grid, and we will have our first race of the weekend here at Clay Pigeon underway, our fourth round of the season with FAB-Racing.
Can't wait to get things going. Last little checks from the roving marshals, normally parents of the young riders in the yellow high vis, before we get ready to send them on their way to kickstart the action here in Dorset. A circuit beloved by go-karters and mini-motos, like a circuit with so much history. Let's see if we can add to that here this weekend as the flag marshal gets ready to send them on their way. We are go at round 4 of FAB-Racing. What a start from Jensen Cedras on the 2, rockets to the lead, away into turn number 2 as they all squabble for position behind them. Look at the run though from Maxwell Keats out of turn number 2, straight back in front, and resumes his place at the front of the pack from pole position. Further back, I believe it was Joey Athersic who started P3, maintains the lead there in the AC40 Pro race. As again, all of them just trying to find the early pace. That's really deep though from Maxwell Keats. Big mistake, he completely missed his braking zone. That's allowed Cedras back to the front. Once again, Izzy, we're seeing our two LC40 Elite bikes shooting off at the front as we've already got a rider down, unfortunately, as all of the air-cooled bikes hold firm behind them.
Exactly, Ross, what you just said. indeed. Those two on our liquid cool bike just playing cat and mouse with each other, constantly swapping who is taking that lead position. It is Maxwell Keats back in front of Cedras now on our second lap of this race. Absolutely brilliant stuff we have seen from these guys all season so far, but look at that. Keats just holding on ahead of Jensen Cedras. Barely anything separating these two guys out in front at the moment. 0.1 second between them, and following them, leading the AC40s at the moment, is Freddie Taylor, running in third overall but first in the AC40s, and just behind him, catching up onto his tail, is Danny Longhurst on that number 26. Danny Longhurst there just moved out on Freddie Taylor, looking to make a move but just couldn't quite get one made there. They just come through that right-hander, coming now into the chicane. Freddie Taylor holding on to that lead just ahead of Danny Longhurst, but a brilliant stuff. But coming, looking to catch up with them is Joey Athasich on the number 67. A close pack of these top runners for the AC40s at the moment, Ross.
It is indeed. Looks like it was Claudia Dubman, the 28 that we lost from the opening lap. A real shame for her. That's not how you want to kickstart your weekend. But we focus back on the action. Very tense racing here. Early doors with 7, soon to be 6 laps left to go as they come to the line. And look at how close this pack is already. Maybe setting up a move into turn 1. Certainly looking for it was Danny Longhurst. Couldn't quite find it. It's such a brave corner down there. That left-hand kick is almost at full throttle, and you really got to hang on to the bike before getting it slowed down for a big right-hand sweeper. That's turn number 2. Then the tricky chicane section as they blast their way down to the bottom end of the circuit. That big hairpin, a prime overtaking opportunity. No one able to find anything on that occasion. It looks like this front 4 that we're seeing in the AC40 race at the moment, Taylor, Longhurst, Athasich and Williams in that order, they're all holding position at the moment. They all seem quite comfortable following, looking a little bit racy, looking for moves here and there, but no one's too worried about getting that late move in just yet. There's still time left in this race to set up moves, get things done.
There is, like you said, Ross, but Joey Athasich started this race in third position on the grid and has lost a couple of positions now to be running in 5th. So he is following behind Taylor and Longhurst at the moment, and you know he is not going to be happy with that start from the race, and he's going to be pushing and pulling everything he can out of that bike to try and get that move past Longhurst and then make the move on Taylor to take back that third position. But these three staying very closely packed together. Close battle between these guys all race long at the moment. Absolutely brilliant stuff we are seeing from them. Freddie Taylor running ahead of the AC40 pack, third overall of this race, but first for the AC40 is Claudia Dudman, though. You can see as soon as they get on that straight, they are pushing their bike to the limit, right on the tail of Freddie Taylor, trying to just be able to have that close moment that they can just come out and make that move and take that position away. We have just 4 laps left to go of this race, and amazing stuff we are seeing so far from these guys running the AC40 Pro and the LC40 Elite. Look at that, just look how close they bunching up round those corners, and then they get back on the throttle, back on the straights, separate that little bit, but then they've got another corner straight away that pulls them back together. They are so tightly packed, these guys here, and we just got to wait and see if Claudia Dudman can pull enough out of their bike to make that move on Freddie Taylor.
It's getting very, very tight out there. 3 laps left to go for these guys as they cross the line, and it's like a mini Moto 3 race out there for them, all of them in tandem. Nobody quite able to go through. This is the AC40 Pro at the moment. This is where all of the action is. The front 4 in this race, P3 down to P6 overall. Up the front, Maxwell Keats leads in the LC40 Elite. He's got 3, nearly 4 seconds now ahead of Jensen Cedras in P2, as there is a big move there. That was Williams even, should I say, getting the launch on Joey Athasich, and they're still fighting, but it looks like Williams is just going to hold on to the inside. Believe he's kept that one, but not quite yet. Still side by side, and this is the racing that Clay Pigeon can produce. A fantastic battle as it ultimately ends up with the status quo, and no changes made, but it's split up this fight for the lead. Penultimate lap of the race, Taylor and Longhurst now break away from Athasich and Williams from a 4-way fight for the lead in the AC40 Pros. It's now a 2-way fight for first and a 2-way fight for third.
It is, Ross, and like you said, brilliant stuff we see here at Clay Pigeon. There are so many moments that these riders have the chance to overtake and switch up the positions in ways we wouldn't normally expect. Absolutely brilliant stuff we are seeing from them. Our leaders at the moment, though, that number 24 of Maxwell Keats has now lapped Jensen Sadras. Absolutely brilliant stuff we are seeing from our young rider there, but here we are, absolutely brilliant stuff we have got here from these guys running from third overall, but first, second, third and fourth in the AC40s. There we just see Claudia Danny Longhurst on the 26, looking to make a move on Freddie Taylor. It is the last lap of the first race here for the AC40 Pros and LC40 Elites. An amazing race we have seen from these guys so far, but just look, here we can see Freddie Taylor still holding on to that lead ahead of Danny Longhurst. These two have been battling all race long and it's been so tight between these two, but a brilliant performance we have been seeing from them. Not long left to go of this race now, still on the last lap now we are just seeing them come round, ready to go. Here we can see one of our back runners has just crossed the line, but absolutely brilliant stuff. Here they come now. Here is Freddie Taylor, and Freddie Taylor has done it. Took third place overall, but first for the AC40 Pros, Ross.
Brilliant racing here in the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites. Maxwell Keats ran away at the front of that one with Jensen Sedras some 5.7 seconds behind, but the action was so good in that fight for the lead in the AC40 Pros. We just couldn't watch them. We couldn't take our eyes away. The number 24 of Maxwell Keats wins in the LC40 Elite. The 118 of Freddie Taylor takes victory in the AC40 Pros with Danny Longhurst in second, less than 0.2 of a second away. Joey Atatich managing to hold on to P3 there in front of Tommy Williams as well for P3 and P4 there in AC40 Pros. But the overall rundown for you, it's Maxwell Keats in P1, Jensen Sedras in P2, with Freddie Taylor in P3, Danny Longhurst 4th and Joey Atatich in 5th. Tommy Williams was 6th, with Reed Saxelby 7th, Henry Brody P8, Emerson Oakley 9th and Ethan Bayliss rounding out the top 10. Cooper Sayre, the 89, was 11th, with Oliver Wilson on the 126 in P12. And unfortunately we did lose Claudia Dubman on that opening lap, but man oh man, Izzy, what a way to kickstart the action here this weekend.
Absolutely, Ross, and we've seen what we've seen at every round so far. Those guys running on the LC40, Jensen Sadras and Maxwell Keats, just fly ahead of everybody else. Absolutely brilliant performance we have seen from them all season so far, but even those top runners for the AC40s, absolutely brilliant performance we have seen from them as well. Here we can see now everybody just gathering round, chatting with everybody, getting ready for our next race of the day. But that was an amazing opener here at Clay Pigeon, Ross.
It certainly was. What a way to kickstart the action here. What a victory for Maxwell Keats. It must be said, he's already got the bucket hat on in the background, celebrating in style. But man, oh man, that was some performance from him. Nearly 7 seconds up the road off of Jensen Sedras in the LC40 Elite class. And then, of course, that titanic battle that we saw in the AC40 Pros. Of course, they may be done for the day, but they still got 2 more races to come tomorrow. Let's hope that it is more of the same, because that was absolutely fantastic. And let's hope that's a sign of the racing to come this weekend as well. Brilliant stuff there for our first race of the weekend here at Clay Pigeon, round number 4 of the Mastermac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. The riders soaking in the celebrations. You can see, as she said here earlier, is so many people here this weekend watching along, congratulating our riders. A huge crowd here. And again, it's great to see how much FAB-Racing has grown this year, let alone across the years. Long may it continue.
And coming up now, we will be having our second race of the day. It is going to be the AC40 Rookies. Here we are now. We can see them just on the grid, getting ready to do their warm-up and outlap to come back round, form the grid once again, and then racing will be straight underway for these guys and their first race of the weekend. These guys this year so far, this season, have been absolutely brilliant. We have some riders as young as 6 in the AC40 Rookies, and they are amazing. The Rookies always put on a show for us all, and like I said, at the age of 6 they are starting so young on the road to MotoGP. Absolutely brilliant. The grassroots of racing is here, and they start here. Absolutely brilliant with the AC40 rookies. They're just waiting now to be released out onto their outlap, and then we will get their race underway. But absolutely amazing these guys have been all year. Very, very impressive. They are just coming around now on their outlap. Let's just run through the grid for you. Starting on pole position, we have the number 171 of Jensen Brown. In second place, we have the 57 of Van Morris. Third, we have the 76 of Zach Athasich. Fourth, the 174 of Oakley Hipwell. Fifth, the 74 of William Skingle. Sixth, the 45 of Chase Carter. Seventh, the 77 of Theo Tyler. Eighth, the 35 of Oliver Cheeseman. Ninth, the 95 of Casey Reeson. 10th, the 999 of Adele Everett. 11th, we have the 25 of Logan of Paisley. 12th, the 98 of Reggie Watson. 13th, the number 9 of Caden Bailey. 14th, the 42 of Keely Bailey. 15th, we have the number 32 of Izzy Cook. 16th, we have the 251 of Arlo Simmons. 17th, we have the 127 of Savannah Polden. 18th, we have the 6th of Oscar Bond. And rounding out our grid in 19th position is the 164 of Arton Oakley.
Yeah, one of our riders having issues there on the sighting lap. Looks like all okay, getting the bike restarted, up on their feet as well, which is good to see. Hopefully they'll be able to make the start of this race, and yep, looks like they're going to be remounting and getting back on it, but it just means a small delay before we get going in this one. Yeah, should be a very, very interesting race. Again, a few new names out here today. A few big names missing from this one as well. Austin Baton swept last time out at Hooton Park, 3 wins apiece. Coming in to this weekend, nowhere to be seen. And, well, we'll have to wait and see what is going to be happening with Austin Baton. Believe he may, in fact, be moving up to other classes, which then, of course, if he is, opens up the championship to other people, opens up race-winning opportunities to other people. Of course, the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup, brought to you by Grassroots Grand Prix. It is our youngest riders here at FAB-Racing, the first step on their bike racing journeys. And there is, yes, a very big difference of skills. Some riders have been on bikes a couple of months. Some riders have been on bikes before they could walk. But either way, they're going to go out there and put on a fantastic display for us and show us what they can do. The flag marshal will point to the lights. We will get racing in just a short moment's time. We do now look like there may have been a small jump there from Van Morris off of P2, but we all get away well following that one. Jensen Brown holds the lead down into turn 1 as the rest of them all fighting for position through turn number 2, making their way into the chicane for the first time, and all looking clean. Still riders pushing each other right to the limit. Very, very close there in the background. Van Morris still in P2 just behind Jensen Brown as they come down the back straight into the hairpin, and the riders all desperately just trying to find some grip, trying to use that experience they've gained in practice and qualifying and put rubber to the road and get a move on.
Exactly, Ross. Just 8 laps in this first race for the AC40 rookies, and a brilliant performance we saw on that start. Like Ross said, we could have seen a little jump start there from Van Morris, who started in second and is holding on to that position currently, but we will have to see what race control says. But everybody's starting to gap out a bit more in this race. We are seeing the front runners pulling away from those guys running in third and fourth, but still leading this race is Jensen Brown with a 0.3 seconds difference between him and Van Morris running in second. Absolutely brilliant performance we are seeing from Jensen Brown, with us all season so far, and he is just getting better and better each weekend we are seeing him, Ross.
Absolutely, it's part of the joy of the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup here. You know, you get to see riders improve before your very eyes, so they gain experience, gain confidence on the bike, because these are the stars of tomorrow today. These are the guys that we might be seeing up in MotoGP, who will hopefully be seeing up in the British Talent Cup in about 10 or so years' time. So we'll have to wait and see if they can do that. Van Morris, that's a big look to the inside into turn 1, but decides to back out of it as Jensen Brown slams the door shut and sweeps around the outside. But we have got a race for the lead on our hands. The front row of the grid, the 171 of Brown, the 57 of Morris are going at it tooth and claw out there at the moment. Superb racing, and in the meanwhile they've already bolted away from the rest of the pack. Nearly 4.5 seconds separating Van Morris from Oakley Hipwell in P3 at the moment, who themselves is having a massive battle for third place. But right now up the front of the pack, Brown is just about holding on. Morris looks very, very racy though. We saw that big lunge into turn 1 on the last lap. Maybe thinks about it again, maybe trying to set a move up.
Brown is looking very cool and collected, though, very calm. He is comfortable with this lead. He is aware of Van Morris approaching and gaining on him, but he is staying calm. Look, once again, Van Morris going to make the move, but Brown is just saying, absolutely not today. I am leading this race, and I am going to keep on leading it with just 5 laps left to go. Jenson Brown even have put in the quickest lap last time round, but they're just getting past some back markers now. Sometimes that traffic can cause big issues, but it doesn't look like it has here. But Van Morris right on the tail of Jenson Brown as they just sweep around there. Jenson Brown holding on to his lead, though, still looking very calm and very in control of his bike. He's won with the bike, in control, keeping rhythm with it, and absolutely just holding on to his lead brilliantly. We are just coming around that final corner now. We are going to have just 4 laps left to go in just a second. But look at this, Van Morris, they are neck and neck coming down this start-finish straight, but Jenson Brown still holding on to that lead with just 4 laps left to go.
It is really, really tight racing between our 2 front runners. Morris looks like he's got a bit more pace coming out of the final corner, just able to get that traction down slightly better, gives him that run, but just runs out of room into turn number 1. So let's see if Van has a plan heading round this time, or if he's going to have to settle for second so far, because it is still Jenson Brown holding on there at the front as the rest of the pack now 8.5 seconds back from this front pair, who are inseparable at the front of the pack. Couldn't fit a piece of paper between them, but as I say that, I think a small mistake from Morris has dropped him back ever so slightly, but still within touching distance as it stands. And let's see how much the gap closes up here, because time and time again we've seen Morris get closer and get closer down this front straight, and once again he has done. Yes, dropped back a little bit on that lap, but still a little bit closer. Gap now up to half a second low. Let's see if it can close back down. 3 laps left to go.
Exactly, Ross. Just 3 laps of this first race for the AC40 rookies. And Van Morris, a new name to us here this weekend at Clay Pigeon, and what a show he's putting on for us. He has come in, got himself into second, and is absolutely holding on to that and making his statement saying, I am here this weekend and I am going to be up there in those top 3 positions. But Jenson Brown is holding on to his lead, saying, no, you're not. I'm keeping hold of first place in this race. They are coming round that last corner now. We have got just 2 laps left to go of this race. Once again, Van Morris out of that last corner, gets straight on the throttle, builds up, gets ever so close to Jenson Brown, but just can't quite make that move before they hit the first corner. And then Jenson Brown has that chance just to build a bit of a little gap again between him and Van Morris running in second, but Jenson Brown leading this race with just 2 laps left to go.
It is not exactly a defensive effort from Jenson Brown, because he's not having to defend. He's just carried on, running his normal race, running his normal lines, and he's just doing enough on that to stay ahead in front of the 57, going on to the last lap in just a few short moments' time. Time running out for Van Morris. This time he looks to the inside, maybe at the last corner. No, not quite. Bit of traffic might split them up, and having to get out of it maybe is Van Morris as they go 4 abreast down the front straight with the traffic. And does that allow Morris through into the lead? Yes, it does. What a move as Brown runs straight on and goes off. That is a big one for Jenson Brown, down and out for the race lead, but straight back onto his feet, straight back onto the bike, or attempts to anyway. He wants to rejoin this race, but that puts a devastating end to what was a fantastic battle for the lead, and it has handed Van Morris an opening round win here at Clay Pigeon. I mean, what a way to introduce yourself, it must be said. A bit of lady luck on his side as it got a bit scary towards the end, but with 1 turn to go, this is as easy as cake.
Exactly, Ross. Van Morris, after that little issue Jenson Brown has just had, has now got that race lead, got a hold of it, has no one really on his tail at the moment, and just is going to cross the line now with just 1. And that is it. Checkered flag. Van Morris takes the win for the first race here at Clay Pigeon in the AC40 Rookies Cup. An absolutely brilliant performance from him there. Let's have a look at how everybody else finished that race. Van Morris on that 57 in first place. In second, we had Oakley Hipwell in second. Third, we had the 76 of Zach Athasich. Fourth, we had the 171 of Jensen Brown. Fifth was Oliver Cheeseman. Sixth was William Skingle. Seventh, Theo Tyler. Eighth, Logan Paisley. Ninth, Casey Reeson. 10th, Chase Carter. 11th, Reggie Watson. 12th, Adele Everett. 13th, Caden Bailey. 14th, Keely Bailey. 15th, Izzy Cook. 16th, Savannah Polden. 17th, Arlo Simmons. 18th, Oscar Bond. And 19th, Arton Oakley. Wow, what some last minute race action there, Ross.
Yeah, I think there may have been a bit of confusion with the checkered flag because it took a little bit of time for it to come out, and then actually our leader's gone round again. So I think there may have been an extra lap in there for some of the riders, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, what an ending to that race. Heartbreak, of course, for Jensen Brown. Just a small mistake or perhaps an issue with the bike and went down hard, but fair play to him. Straight back up, attempted to get straight back onto the bike as well, and was able to finish in P4 in the end. A very, very respectable P4 as well. But you got to say, Van Morris, it was certainly a ride and a half, but it feels a shame, and I know he'll be a little bit upset with that one because obviously he'll be delighted he's won a race here at FAB-Racing, but you know, you don't want to really get those things gifted to you like that. You know, you want to race to the end, you want to get that on pure merit alone, but still introducing yourself and then some. Welcome to FAB-Racing, Van Morris, as Oakley Hipwell and Zach Athasich round up the podium. Man, oh man, what a race number one here in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup, brought to you by Grassroots de Grand Prix here at Clay Pigeon. And man, oh man, what a race that was. Fantastic stuff we've just seen there. Van Morris certainly introducing himself to the FAB-Racing world, and potentially one to keep an eye on, certainly for the rest of this weekend, maybe for the future as well. We'll have to wait and see. Race 2 and 3 for the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. They'll be out tomorrow for the rest of the action at Clay Pigeon.
Yeah, next up we are going to be having the AC40 Inters. Now, we've not got many with us this weekend, but we have got a new face in them who has joined them and come up from the AC40 Rookies. We have got some brilliant riders, just 6 joining us this weekend, which is going to prove for some brilliant close racing, I think, Ross. Absolutely brilliant it will be to be seeing them here with us at Clay Pigeon, back again after last year, and it's been a fantastic track so far. It's quick, very quick. I mean, last races, some of our riders were getting round in 40-something seconds, Ross. Very, very quick.
It is certainly quick indeed. Riders making their way out onto the grid now for our AC40 Inter race, brought to you by Britton Electrical Services. And before we get going, we were informed that the number 19 of Finley Styles, we were told earlier that his bike actually failed a post-qualifying technical inspection and that he will be started from the back of the grid, but I can currently see him lining up. It looks to be on the front row, so surely the issues that were there have since been rectified, but that's what we were told by Roger Keys over in race control. So we'll have to wait and see what's going on with the 19 of Finley Styles and whether that technical inspection failure stands or not. It is, though, the 44 of Nelly Nuth who starts on pole position, with Finley Styles possibly starting alongside her, possibly not. We'll have to wait and see when they come round at the end of the sighting lap. Randy Carter starts there with Noah Barfoot alongside Seth James as P5, and Austin Baton moving up from the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup for this round. He starts in P6, rounding out what is, yes, it is a small grid of riders, but it is one that looks, with the names that we've got down there and the times that we can see on the qualifying sheet, very, very close indeed.
Yes, indeed, Ross. Nelly Nuth starting on pole position. She has just dominated so far this year. She is just showing everyone and putting everyone to shame, really, with her skills. Nelly Nuth on that number 44, sponsored by House of Moto, supporting young female riders in many championships all across the UK, which is absolutely brilliant stuff to see. Here they are just coming around now, lining up, just finishing up, forming that grid, and then we'll be racing for the AC40 Inters here at Clay Pigeon. But like Ross was saying, some brilliant names we've got with us here, and Austin Baton coming up from the AC40 rookies. Well, very interesting to see how he fares with the other guys who have been involved since the beginning of the season with the AC40 Inters. Flag marshal there pointing to the lights, and then we will be underway racing. Let's see what's going to happen, and it is lights out and away we go for the AC40 Inters. Nelly Newth, a brilliant start from her, holding on to that first position in with ease. Finley Styles, though, hot on her tail in second position, and in third we have that number 69 of a Randy Carter. But absolutely brilliant stuff. These guys staying very closely bunched up here, no real gap forming. These guys all performing at a very similar level. Some very close racing we are going to see here in this race of the AC40 Inters, but Nelly Newth leading ahead of everybody else. An amazing start from her, an amazing start for everyone. Just coming round now to finish this first lap and start the next one of this AC40 Inters race. Everybody's so close and together, though. Absolutely brilliant stuff we are seeing from these 6 riders, Ross.
Yeah, still very, very tight as they complete the first lap. Newth leads from Styles, who did start second in the end, so whatever issues there were with the bike post-qualifying regards to inspection, clearly all been given the okay, and he maintains that P2, P3 just behind. Looks like it'll be Randy Carter, who started P3 as well. So everyone really holding position on the opening lap here as Styles looks to the inside there, down into the hairpin. Can't quite find anything on that occasion, but already feeling racy. Newth, I don't think she did quite like that start. Yes, it was a good launch, but we know that she really likes to bolt away on the first half of a lap and then control the pace of the race from there. But she's got big pressure from 3-4 riders behind, so this could be a bit of a tough one for the 44, especially with Styles already potentially lining up a move into turn 1. But Newth sweeps back across, says no you don't, and holds on there. 7 laps left to go as they cross the line, and 5 riders still in tandem at the front of this pack, all of them within a shot of winning this race.
Exactly, Ross, but like you just said, at the end of that lap, just Nelly Newth saw Finley Styles looking to make a move, and she changed up her racing line and said, oh no you don't, I'm holding on to the race lead in this race. And she is now just starting to pull away that little bit. Normally she has, within that first lap, got a major lead ahead of everybody else, but because of that start, because of how tightly everybody is packed together here, these 6 riders, she hasn't quite been able to do that, which is giving Styles that chance to challenge her, to push her and say, look, I want first. Look, Styles moves to the outside now, looking to make a move, but still not possible. Nelly Newth just moved straight back across in front of him again and said, not happening.
Aggressive defending from the 44 and the 19. Can Finley Styles find a way through, though? He's also under pressure from Randy Carter, who set fastest lap of the race on the previous tour, 45.389, and he's looking very racy as well. And just behind them, Noah Barfoot, Seth James also in the conversation, and Austin Baton isn't far away. He's still at the tail end of this pack, so if these guys start having problems, he could still be in this conversation as well. That's part of the joy when you've got a small grid. Any of them could suddenly be in a fantastic position if other riders start encountering issues. Rounding the final corner once again, 5 to go as we break the beam at the start-finish line. Newth weaving this way, that way, tries to break the toe and sweeps across once again down into turn 1. Such a brave corner. You really got to grip onto the bike, hang on to it and pray that it sticks as you send it through there. But all of them making their way through nice and cleanly. Race has settled down just a little bit for the time being. As he says that, is that a little run maybe for Finley Styles? No, not quite, as they head into the hairpin, but still very close behind. Maybe all of them just analysing their opponents, trying to figure out where they're better than them on the racetrack, see if they can maybe figure out a place to launch a move.
Yeah, and Noah Barfoot, though, last lap, Ross, put in the fastest lap of this race so far with a 45.290. He's gaining on these front 3 runners and saying, I want to have a look at getting involved in this battle here. 4 laps left to go of racing for the AC40 Inters in their first race here at Clay Pigeon. Nelly Newth holding on to her lead with Finley Styles hot on her tail. Randy Carter every so often looking to get involved in this battle here and make it a 3-way battle for first, but just can't quite get that gain on Finley Styles to get himself deeply involved in this battle. But these 3 running so tightly together for this race, and absolutely brilliant stuff we're seeing from them. Look at that, Finley Styles hot on the tail of Nelly Newth. He's hunting her down. He wants to take that first position away in this first race for the AC40 Inters. Just coming round now into that last corner. Nelly Newth, see, look at that, Ross. Everybody, as soon as they come round that corner, lock in, get straight on the throttle to try and gain some down these straights here. But then into that first braking zone, they bunch up that little bit again, and that for the rest of the track, it makes them all bunched up close together, which gives us some great racing.
Well, if you ever wanted a visual depiction of the accordion effect in racing, there you go. Is this an opportunity for Randy Carter on the inside of Finley Styles? Not quite a great launch out of the chicane. Just couldn't quite come into fruition on that occasion. Nuth still leads from Styles, from Carter, from Barfoot. James and Baton in 5th and 6th, dropping back away from this lead battle, unfortunately. Penultimate lap of the race awaits us as they round the final corner. Once again, Nuth tries to break the toe. Styles maybe has to go the long way round. Does he have the bravery? A little bit too far back on that occasion, but still holds on to the throttle. Saw on a couple of laps ago just how aggressive Styles is getting on the brakes into the hairpin. The bike really starting to move underneath him. Let's see if he does that on this lap as they head down the back straight once again. Not as good of a run this time for Randy Carter. Styles looks to the inside. Once again, the bike moving. Once again, Nelly Nuth holding on to that lead. This is a tense race, and I feel like all it's going to take is one person finding that a little bit extra, one person finding that inch to make a move to set fireworks off as we're about to go on to the last lap.
Yes, Ross, look at this though. These four now, look how close. Noah Barfoot really looking to get involved with these three battling up at front here. But Nelly Nuth holding on to that lead as we come into this last lap. But Finley Styles is looking now. He's like, okay, I've got one lap left to make this move and take that first position away. They are on the throttle constantly, coming just now, sweeping through that little chicane section. Randy Carter though, neck and neck with Finley Styles there as they came through that chicane. He wants to make a move as well, coming round that hairpin now. Nelly Nuth still leading ahead of Finley Styles, Randy Carter in 3rd and Noah Barfoot in 4th. Absolutely brilliant stuff we are seeing from these guys in the AC40 Inters. Just coming round that last corner now, last lap of the first race of the AC40 into such close battling we are seeing between these guys. Down onto the throttle, who is going to take the win? And it will be Nelly Nuth on that number 44 race winner here at Clay Pigeon for the first race of the AC40 Inters. 2nd place we had the number 19 of Finley Styles. 3rd we had the 69 of Randy Carter. Absolutely brilliant racing from those guys running at the front of the pack. They were so tight together throughout the whole of that race. You really didn't know who was going to make the move or be able to win this race.
Yeah, everyone just stand back and take a breath. I'm amazed that they all finished in the order that they started in, because the top 4 especially, inseparable for 9 laps. And the top 4 covered by less than a second, less than 3/4 of a second, in fact, as they came across the line. What a race that was. More of that, please, over the final 2 remaining tomorrow in the Brits and Electrical Services AC40 Interclass. It's Nelly Nuth who takes yet another victory on that 44 machine, just ahead of Finley Styles, himself just ahead of Randy Carter, who rounds out the podium, himself just ahead of Noah Barfoot. Seth James a little bit further back in 5th place, and Austin Baton, his first AC40 Inter race, he brings it home in P6. But good experience from out there in a bit more of a tougher class than the Rookies Cup. Of course, this is when the racing gets a bit more serious. You're not just racing against kids who've been on the bike for a couple of months. Now you've got proper competition. To finish a race in the Inters is very respectable, so a big congratulations to Austin Baton there. But of course, who else is it going to be on top at the moment? It is Nelly Nuth, the 44, who has gained international notoriety, getting plenty of fans from across the pond in the United States. We're sure a few of them watching along with us now. And yet another win for that 44. And well, she is looking like she wants to make it 2 championships in 2 years. She's got her eyes all over the Brits and Electrical Services AC40 Inter.
Now we have got the senior mini motos. These guys never fail to give us some brilliant racing, no matter what track we're at. But absolutely massive lineup we have got from these guys here, filling up our grid. We have got both Birkins here with us this weekend, Matt and Josh returning to us after a break, but let's see how they do this weekend. Just waiting now to be released on their outlap, those 2 brothers, the Birkins from Buxton. It's going to be an exciting weekend of racing for these guys. They never fail to entertain and never fail to disappoint us. They are absolutely amazing racing for the senior mini motos. You never know what's going to happen. Someone will come off at some point, and you never know who's going to win with these guys. You can't predict anything for the senior mini motos. They are always changing, always giving us brilliant entertainment. They're just being released now on that 8 lap. Let's run through this massive grid we've got for these guys. Starting in pole position, we have Matt Birkin. In second, we have Rhys Gentry. Third, Josh Birkin. Fourth, Keaton Payne. Fifth, Craig Ashall. Sixth, Nick Bennett. Seventh, Callum White. Eighth, Lamar Morgan. Ninth, Holly Harris. 10th, Chris Yeomans. 11th, Tom Burt. 12th, Aaron Player. 13th, Harvey Jeremy. 14th, Gary Eldridge. 15th, Chris Bain. 16th, Steve Johns. 17th, Tom Ryan. 18th, Rob Gentry. 19th, Jerome Richards. 20, Kieran Roberts. And rounding out all 21 of our riders in the senior mini moto is Nikki Lewis.
Yeah, a huge grid here for the senior mini motos. Both Birkins back as well. Josh finally has permission from his fiancée to go racing once again after she doesn't like him doing it because he hurts himself all the time. Because fun enough, last time he was here, he hurt himself. Chances are he's probably going to hurt himself this time as well, but fingers crossed that we don't have that for Josh. Matt Birkin, though, his brother, reigning championship and championship leader by only 9 points heading into this weekend. He does start from pole with Rhys Gentry, the number 100, starts alongside a huge grid of mini motos. As you said, Izzy, a very stacked grid of mini motos as well. This is sure to be an absolute barnstormer, to put it mildly. It's all eyes to the lights then. Flag Marshal gives the point. The senior mini motos get themselves underway now. Looks like a great start there from second for Rhys Gentry, and indeed it is. Rockets into the lead down into turn number 2. Matt Birkin will hold on to second place ahead of Keaton Payne, it looks like, who's got up in front of Josh. So the left hand side of the grid, the odd numbers just looks like they didn't quite get away as well as those on the even numbered side as they make their way down to the hairpin for the very first time in this one. A 9-lap affair awaits us. Already trying to push each other. There goes Keaton Payne to the inside of Matt Birkin. Certainly thought about it on the number 12. That is aggressive racing from Keaton Payne. Can't quite find the way through, but he's come out of the gate swinging here. Front 3 already starting to break away from the pack.
They are just 9 laps left to go. Starting our second lap now for these guys, but like Ross was just saying, these front 3 runners, Rhys Gentry, Matt Birkin and Keaton Payne, pulling away from those guys running in 4th and below. But an absolutely brilliant start for Rhys Gentry there. He was straight on the throttle when that red light went out and got that move on Matt Birkin with ease. Matt Birkin, though, is going to be looking to make a move back on him and say, absolutely not, let me have that back. But Keaton Payne, though, is up there with them. He set the fastest lap last time round of a 45.565. He is going hunting today and wants to be up in those top positions. Just 8 laps left to go. Now they are coming round into that final corner. Matt Birkin straight on his throttle. You can see, I love it with these guys. You can really see how tight and pulled in they get with their bike when they get on those straights to try and gain some speed up and make moves on the other riders. But there is our race leader, Rhys Gentry, being pressured by Matt Birkin, who is closely followed by Keaton Payne. Our front runners really pulling away from the others, but putting on an absolute show.
Fast and furious racing, as we've come to expect from across the years of senior mini moto here at FAB. Once again, Keaton Payne looks to the inside, got on the curb a little bit there, so definitely had to get out of it before he ended up with his face on the floor, and that has cost him a little bit of time. As a result, eases the pressure off of the reigning champion, the championship leader, Matt Birkin. Rhys Gentry just in front. Does Birkin have anything to offer on this occasion as they go down to turn 2? It's a great run, it's a big look, it's a big move by Matt Birkin. Fantastic stuff down into turn number 2. Set it up beautifully coming out of the final turn, and now Matt Birkin assumes his lead as the rest of the riders making their way around the circuit. These front 3 absolutely inseparable at the front of the pack. It's a huge gap back to Craig Ashall in P2. He's 2.5 seconds back from this group, with everyone else bunching up a little bit behind him. But as it currently stands, as the bike moves underneath Rhys Gentry just a little bit, it's Matt Birkin who now leads. Can Gentry try and set up a move? We've seen Keaton Payne look racy as well. Maybe he wants to try something as well. 5 laps left to go.
Yes, Ross, 5 laps left to go. Matt Birkin made that move on Rhys Gentry and is managing to hold on to it quite well. He's getting a bit of a gap ahead of Rhys Gentry now, but Rhys Gentry is now being pressured by Keaton Payne running in third. Keaton Payne is going to be looking and thinking, well, Matt Birkin made that move, can I make a move on him to take second place away from him? But 5 laps left to go. They've just come round that hairpin. Matt Birkin leading on the senior mini motors. These guys are always so impressive. The balance, the control they have to have on these small bikes is honestly so impressive. They always give us a show with their racing. Coming round now through that last corner they've just come in, it is Matt Birkin leading this race with just 4 laps left to go. Our front 3 runners, a big gap forming ahead of everybody else. They've got a 4-second gap ahead of those running 4th and below. Craig Ashall, Nick Bennett, Chris Youngmans, that is who we are seeing running in 4th, 5th and 6th currently. But on our screens at the moment is our race leader Matt Birkin, set the fastest lap last time round of a 42.982. He's a look at that. Keaton Payne made a move then on Reece Gentry, but Reece Gentry took that back. They just swapped back and forth then, but it was Reece Gentry holding on to that second position on the number 100, trying to build a gap, but they're coming into traffic now, and traffic, no matter what race, always cause issues. Matt Birkin there going self-sandwiched between 2, but just makes that move around them, and Reece Gentry and Keaton Payne just flew past them with ease at the moment. But now with this back runner here, Matt Birkin has to look to get past as quick as he can, so that Reece Gentry and Keaton Payne can't quite close that gap that he's built away from them, and he wants to hold that lead, be comfortable with it, with just 3 laps left to go.
Blink and you'll miss it stuff here at Clay Pigeon. What a race we are bearing witness to right now. Keaton Payne is all over the back of Reece Gentry. He slid past him briefly on the previous lap. The gap to Matt Birkin between the 100 and the 12 also opened up as a result, but it's still tight as they start the penultimate lap of the race. Birkin holding on to that lead, but not by much, and it could all change in a moment's notice. Elsewhere, we're seeing Lamar Morgan on the 216 holding on to P7, a fantastic ride for him. Holly Harris in P10 as well. Great to see her back here at FAB-Racing, and they're doing well and in the top 10. But back to our lead battle. This is where all of the action is. It's still Birkin from Gentry, from Payne, your top 3. Can Keaton Payne maybe find a way through? Is there going to be some more traffic that could cause some chaos? We're just going to have to wait and find out as we're about to go on to the final lap of this race, and any one of these 3 could be winning it. All 3 of them could end up on the dirt in half a lap's time. It's anybody's guess in this series. 1 lap to go. Matt Birkin leads. Keaton Payne looks to the inside, can't find anything, but still wants that second place.
Yeah, Matt Birkin though has made that lead, got that gap built. He is holding on to first position comfortably. Reece Gentry under massive pressure here from Keaton Payne. Keaton Payne wants that second place position, wants to be up there on the podium. Reece Gentry under so much pressure from him, and then knows he has to pull everything he can out of that bike. In the last bit here, I do believe that is Keaton Payne has made the move on Reece Gentry and is now running in second position. A brilliant move made from him there on this last lap of racing for the first race of the senior mini motors here at Clay Pigeon. Coming round now onto that start finish straight, and there he is, Matt Birkin, our race winner. Absolutely brilliant performance from him there, with Keaton Payne coming in crossing the line in second, and Reece Gentry in third. Like Ross said, anything can happen in the last lap with these guys, and it did. Keaton Payne pulled everything he could out of the bike, made that move past Reece Gentry and took that second place position from him. Brilliant stuff we see from these guys in the senior mini motors, and they're back for another 2 races tomorrow. They never fail to amuse and entertain.
They certainly do. Not a little wave to the camera. It is P1 for the number 1 once again. Matt Birkin stands atop the podium with a fine ride, but he had to work from it. The gap between himself and Keaton Payne in second, 1.5 seconds. Way too big to do this race justice. I think they just got caught up in the traffic a little bit at the end. But what a race we have just seen. It's Birkin from Payne, from Gentry, your top 3. Craig Ashall, a fantastic ride to P4 with Nick Bennett on the 711. He'll be disappointed by his standards with a P5 there. Josh Birkin on his first race back in 2025. He was P6 with Chris Yeomans in 7th. Lamar Morgan 8th. Callum White P9. And Holly Harris rounding out our top 10 here at Clay Pigeon. As you said, Izzy, more of that please tomorrow. Another fantastic race in the senior mini motos. And while it may be a familiar face on top of the podium once again in the form of Matt Birkin, it is safe to say it can all be changed tomorrow, because that top 3 was so close for so long, and all it takes is one tiny little mistake, and that can be a complete change of pace.
You're right, Ross, it can be, but like I said, brilliant stuff we saw from these guys. They're they never fail to just show us what racing really is. All those little battles between them throughout has been absolutely brilliant stuff, and that first race is what we are going to want to see again tomorrow in their final 2 races of the weekend. Matt Birkin, our first place winner, a brilliant opener to this weekend for him, really, and absolutely amazing stuff we are seeing from him. Now coming up, we have got the MK Mini GP50R. These guys once again never fail. They and girls never fail to show us what racing is all about. Just waiting at the moment for them to come out, form the grid, and then we will be underway with their warm-up lap, getting ready to get their first race of the weekend underway. Ross, these guys, absolutely amazing stuff we see from them weekend in and weekend out. Absolutely,
it's a very popular class as well, being the Mini GP50R category, open to both Metrokit Mini GP50s with an upgraded, a larger restrictor on the exhaust. We're also open to a Varley 140 and 160 machines. So if you're a young rider sat at home or maybe competing in other championships on an Varley 140 and 160, and you fancy getting involved in this and trying yourself against some of the best we've got here in FAB Racing, and some of the best surely of the future up in the R&G British Talent Cup, that's for certain, head on over to the FAB Racing website and find out all you need to know through there. Find out how you can get involved, because this is a very, very strong grid of riders, and it is a very, very competitive class as well, and we can't wait to get things underway here. Of course, a new class for 2025. But as we've just said, one that has not disappointed by any means so far, and one that has been very, very hotly contested as well. Riders then set to start their sighting lap in just a brief moment. The flag marshal will send them on their way, and one lap before the lights go out, it is Bradley Curtis who starts from pole position. Sebastian Gazlowski in P2, only 0.02 of a second away from him. Mason Frederick starts third with Rex Austin alongside Jensen Ansel and Kai Hawken on the third row, with Tommy Keaton P7. Caelan Ratcliffe starts in P8. Josh Perkins and Nicholas Dunwoody round out the top 10, with Max Johnson 11th and Bo Morris in P12. Daisy Polden is 13th with Leo Harris in P14. Mason Hams is 15th with Harry James alongside, and it's Callum Maxwell and Claudia Dubman rounding out our grid of 18 riders here. This is sure to be a very, very hectic race, to say the least. Of course, this is a track where you'd think the 2-stroke Metrokits would probably have an advantage. It's a bit more of a top-end track. You spend a lot more time on the throttle, but we know how quick those Avalis can be, and especially when you've got a rider that maybe prefers the Avali machine to the Metrokits that we run in other classes, it just creates that interesting dynamic.
It does, Ross. You are right. They're just coming round now. Final few riders coming onto the grid, forming it, ready to go for the first race of the MK Mini GP50R series. In this, we've got a couple of the girls who are being supported by House of Moto, supporting all young female riders in championships across the UK, promoting female involvement within motorsport. Amazing stuff to see. One of the girls is running in 13th position. Daisy Polden, her younger sister Savannah, also with us. We are looking now, there's our flag marshal looking to the lights, and it is a lights out and away we go, racing for the MK Mini GP50R, and a brilliant start there for Bradley Curtis. Sebastian Gazlowski, though, Super Seb running in second, didn't have the greatest of starts there, nearly just ran off the track slightly, coming around now into that chicane. Sebastian Gazlowski, Super Seb, hot on the tail of the 71 of Bradley Curtis. Amazing stuff we're seeing from these guys here. They are fabulous racers. And in this first lap, Sebastian Gazlowski, though, has made that move, took first place back, and is running in first position of this race. Super Seb dominated all season so far. Let's see if he can continue that here at Clay Pigeon. A brilliant performance we are seeing from him all season so far. Running in second, though, Bradley Curtis is going to be looking to get that position back off him. Mason Frederick, though, there in that black and orange, has lost a couple of positions on that first lap, and he's now running in P5. That is Rex Austin on the 991, now running in third. This battle for third here between Rex Austin, Kai Hawken and Mason Frederick is going to be one to look out for all race at the moment. What do you say, Ross?
Well, it's certainly going to be tight for the rest of them. I don't think it's a huge surprise that Gazlowski gets into a sweet little lead early doors It was definitely a shock for Bradley Curtis to get onto pole position. We saw his mum earlier on this morning, a huge smile on her face, his first pole of 2025. But Sebastian Goslavsky has won every race bar one so far this season. That other one, of course, won by Mason Fedrick. A little bit of a disappointing getaway at the start of this one. So Goslavsky's checked out up the front, barring a disaster. He's already got this race. One hand on the trophy anyway, but look at this huge scrap we've got going on for second place with Curtis. There's Fedrick looking to the inside of Caleb Ratcliffe, I believe that was, and no, in fact it was Rex Austin who's got through, so that's Fedrick up into third now. As there we see Ratcliffe who's dropped back. He's battling with some other riders down in P5 as it stands, and Fedrick, that's a big look at the inside of the final corner. That's a move that surely shouldn't work, and he had to back out of it. Not really an overtaking opportunity. In fact, you'd think riders would want to set up the move down there into turn number 2, but mistakes are made, lessons are learned. Fedrick will go again once again as they head through the chicane. Look at how close they are, like a Moto3 race heading through there before they start bombing down the back stretch. Fedrick looks to the inside once again. Curtis leaves the door open, and that'll be Fedrick up into second place. He gets over his disappointing start away at the light, and now up into second goes to Mason Fedrick as Caleb Ratcliffe making some moves there as well. That looked like it was on the 22 of Jensen Ansel.
Absolutely, Ross. Amazing performance we are seeing from these guys. These four battling it out here. Frederick, Austin, Ansel and Ratcliffe all very tightly packed together, looking to keep a hold of that third position. Actually, Frederick now has just made a move on the number 71 of Bradley Curtis, now running in second. He is absolutely just battling and making his way through past everybody else, and he's going to go hunting down Super Seb with just 7 laps left to go. He has absolutely pushed ahead of everyone else, got a massive gap forming, but this is the battle we are going to be watching at the moment. This battle here for second, third, fourth and fifth, these guys so closely packed together. You never know what's going to happen when they are so close. They have stayed very tight together all since the start of this race. Bradley Curtis running in third did start on pole position, so he's going to be looking to make sure he stays up in those top 3 to hold on to where he's at the moment in the championship as a whole. But Rex Austin there on that 991 is going to look, it's hot on his tail, looking to make a move, just coming round through that hairpin now. We're going to have to wait and see what happens with just 6 laps left to go.
Look at the lean angle that Fedrick gets out of Varley. It's incredible how much he hangs off the bike, Marc Marquez style, as Bradley Curtis then has to sweep around the outside there. I believe that was some lap traffic they were making their way through. Got a bit tense there as they swung round, but all through clean, all through okay. We can race on in what is now a battle for the final podium place. Fedrick, with 5 laps left to go, has 6.2 seconds to make up if he wants to try and challenge the leader. That's over a second a lap he needs to find to catch the back of Sebastian Goslavsky. I think it's safe to say that Goslavsky has a very comfortable lead up the front, but it's very tense in this battle for third. It's been a disappointing race for Curtis after starting from pole, but doing well defensively. Doesn't quite have the pace to really stay up there, but he's holding on to that third position really, really well and keeping Austin, keeping Ratcliffe right behind him. And in fact, these two may be starting to fight, which is exactly what the 71 of Bradley Curtis will be hoping for, because if they start to fight, it holds both of them up, gives him some breathing room, gives him some air so he can focus on the track ahead instead of the 2 bikes behind. 4 laps left to go then. Realistically, 3.5 of this group battling for third. Heads down the back straight. Ratcliffe a little bit too far back for a move on Austin at the moment, but definitely the one putting the pressure on in this situation, and definitely the one who'll be looking to set up a move.
He is, Ross, exactly. Caleb Ratcliffe currently running in 5th, hot on the tail of Rex Austin, who is running in 4th. Sebastian Goslavsky, our race leader, though, has gone massively miles ahead of everyone else with just 3 laps left to go. He has got a gap of 6.5 seconds ahead of all our other riders in this race. So Mason Frederick running in 2nd. He is done well. He started this race in 3rd position and has now gained one to be running in 2nd. The battles we are seeing between these guys every week, and they are always pushing each other to be better and also to make moves. There we can see our race leader, the number 64 of Sebastian Goslavsky, making his way through some back traffic now. Just 2 laps left to go. A brilliant first race for the MK Mini GP 50R here at Clay Pigeon. There is our race leader, Super Seb. Domination we see from him weekend in, weekend out. He never fails to just get ahead of everyone else and show that he knows what he's doing on that bike. He's calm, he's cool, he's collected, he's in control, and gets that race lead, gets comfortable with it, and just continues that dominating trend.
Absolutely. Looks like we unfortunately lost the 22 of Jensen Ansel. Mechanical troubles perhaps for him as Sebastian Kozlowski starts the final lap of the race. And he was fighting at the front of the pack early doors, started from 5th place. We've seen it so far this season. We know that these Mini GP, especially the Metrokit Mini GP50R bikes with the upgraded restrictor, people maybe trying to push a little bit too much power out of the engine can certainly cause it to go pop. We've seen that before, but what else can we say about this man? In the early part of his FAB-Racing career, he was always second fiddle to Taylor Tomlinson, but in 2025, the 64 has made this class his own and is well on his way now to putting one hand on that championship trophy already. As he rounds the final corner, another domineering performance from Sebastian Kozlowski with a fantastic ride, as that is a rider down. That is the number 30 of Josh Perkins, who is coming looking like he was going to be finishing P6. He's down at the hairpin at the bottom of the track. But it is Sebastian Kozlowski that takes a fantastic win in race number 1 here in the Mini GP50R class. And yet another win for Super Seb in this category in 2025. Can anybody stop this man?
I really don't know at this point, Ross. He has just dominated all season long. We're halfway through and he doesn't seem to be looking to want any stop anytime soon. Let's have a look at who results of this race. In first place we had the number 64 of Super Sebastian Kozlowski. In second we had Mason Frederick. Third, Bradley Curtis. That round out our top 3. In fourth we have Rex Austin. Fifth, Caelan Ratcliffe. Sixth, Tommy Keats. Seventh, Kai Hawken. Eighth, Bo Morris. Ninth, Nicholas Dunwoody. 10th, Max Johnson. 11th, Leo Harris. 12th, Daisy Polden. 13th, Mason Hams. 14th, Josh Perkins. 15th, Harry James. 16th, Callum Maxwell. 17th, Claudia Dudman. And unfortunately a DNF for the number 22 of Jensen Ansel.
Man, what a race that was there. A huge battle going on for P2 and P3, but it is, of course, Sebastian Kozlowski taking another fantastic victory. There's a bumper crowd watching along here at Clay Pigeon. Hope you guys are enjoying the show down there at Trackside. Hope that you're enjoying the show wherever you are watching around the world as well. Let us know who you're supporting. Let us know who you think is going to be on top in all of our classes. You can see the wind starting to pick up their flags, flapping away in the breeze. Not always the windiest of circuits here in Clay Pigeon, but a very... Not the hilliest part of the country here in Dorset. There's some bits that are quite hilly, but some bits quite flat. So the wind's not always a massive factor. We are quite inland as well. But, you know, just add something a little bit extra out there to the racing conditions. Maybe something to keep an eye on as we move forward with the rest of today's action. Time then for the amphibian scaffolding Extreme 200 race number 1. And boy oh boy, what a stacked grid we've got here. A few British Talent Cup riders joining us, potential British Talent Cup riders going forward as well on this grid. The rumour mill swirling, the man starting on pole, Henry McCartney. There's been a few whispers here and there, potentially 2026. The R&G British Talent Cup beckons. But for now, let's see what he can do here at Clay Pigeon in FAB-Racing. We know he's certainly quick. He's starting from pole. Let's see if he can convert that into a win against a grid of some very, very stiff competition. 13 riders out here in the Extreme 200s. Looks like it's 13 anyway. Might be missing someone at the back, but let's get going anyway. It is Henry McCartney who starts from the pole. Harrison Day alongside with Travis Shaw P3. Taylor Tomlinson starts in 4th place. Logan Cousins is 5th with BTC rider Isaiah Devine starts in P6. Chris Wells is 7th with Samuel Monson in P8. Jamie King P9 and Archie Hooper rounding out the top 10. Josh Wood is 11th with Rory Jones P12 and 13th Ruben Bray. So some younger riders out there, some older riders out there. Of course, the likes of Jamie King, Chris Wells. We've got the pit bike mainstays and riding their LRA moto, Ruben Bray as well. He started out racing mini motos here at FAB and now graduating up to the Extreme 200s here this weekend. Should be a very interesting race. Henry McCartney especially up the front, a very, very big gap back to Harrison Day in qualifying, 0.5 of a second, but the Extreme 200s always that little bit of spice in the races going forward.
Yes, exactly, Ross. Harrison Day starting in second on the grid. He had a a bit of an up and down weekend at Houghton Park. He's going to be looking to keep a hold this weekend and kind of get back up there, holding on to some of his wins here at the Clay Pigeon. And it is lights out and away we go. Harrison Day, fabulous start from him, taking first place position away from Henry McCartney. Absolute fabulous start from him. He was calm, he just straight on the throttle took that race lead, and he is holding on to it well. Henry McCartney though is looking to apply some pressure and has just made a move down through the inside, through that corner there, take that position back off Harrison Day. I have a feeling we're going to have a bit of a cat and mace game going on in this race between Henry McCartney and Harrison Day. However, Henry McCartney though is building a bit of a gap at the end of this first lap here at Clay Pigeon. Harrison Day running in second, followed closely by the number 4 of Travis Shaw and the 77 of Taylor Tomlinson.
All very close up the front of the pack at the end of the opening lap in this contest. Then McCartney leads from pole position after momentarily losing out to Harrison Day. Can he respond? Will he face any pressure from Shaw or Cousins from behind? Logan Cousins, I will say, in the Mini GP 70s practice earlier on this morning, he looked really, really confident on his bike. So let's see what he can do in this Extreme 200 race anyway, heading into this one. Currently running P4 just to the back of this leading pack as it stands. Not too far behind him is Taylor Tomlinson as we go forward. Starting the next lap then, Henry McCartney extends his lead to just over half a second. Harrison Day facing more pressure from Travis Shaw behind. Does Shaw feel racy? Does he fancy sliding on through? We'll have to wait and see as they bomb their way down into the hairpin. Shaw a little bit too far back on this occasion, but surely Harrison Day has to be feeling a little bit of pressure now, because look at how close that number 4 bike is to the number 15 in front, and he's got to be filling the back of the mind of Harrison Day, seeing to see if he can make his way through. And as it stands up the front of the pack, it is the man rumoured to be going to the British Talent Cup next season. Henry McCartney extends his gap to 7/10 of a second. Harrison Day just about holding on to P2 from Travis Shaw.
Yeah, Henry McCartney had that little wobble at the start of the race, but got back into the groove, got back into that mindset, said not having that Harrison Day, and made the move, took that first place back position, and is now getting comfortable with his lead, getting comfortable with his bike, and he's just going to get miles ahead of everybody else. But Harrison Day running in second is under close watch by Travis Shaw on that number 4, running in third position. Here, look at that, Travis Shaw getting tight in, looking to make that move past Harrison Day, but Harrison Day is quick on the straights. He absolutely flies down them, which gives him that moment to get a bit more of a gap on Travis Shaw running in third, to then try and build that further as he goes through the laps of this race. Just 8 laps left to go. Henry McCartney running in first position with Harrison Day in second and Travis Shaw in third. Following them is Logan Cousins in fourth. Amazing stuff we are seeing from these guys so far. Harrison Day under a lot of pressure from Travis Shaw, has been since he lost that first place back to Henry McCartney, and Travis Shaw saw that and went, I want that second position. He's looking every lap, looking to make that move into every corner, thinking, am I close enough? Can I just pull out, make that move, get that second position? But he's not quite there. Harrison Day is on the defensive, keeping a hold of that second position.
Really, really fantastic battle there for second, and they're still keeping Henry McCartney in check as well. Those two fighting, they haven't dropped back that far while they're going for it. So really interesting to see that they still have the pace, even though they are battling out on the racing surface. Day still holding on at the moment. Looks like Shaw isn't really launching any big moves though as it stands. Very happy just sitting there patiently waiting, analysing his opponent's every turn, every move, to see where maybe he has an advantage on his number 4 bike, see where maybe it's best to try and stick one up the inside. Whether he'll try anything soon, we'll wait and see. But he certainly looks very comfortable in that third place position as it stands, making their way into the hairpin. A little bit later on the brakes there from Shaw, ran a little bit deep in the early part of the corner, but it looks like he got away with it. Still there on the tail of the 15 as they make their way through the final section once again into the final couple of corners. A big right-hand sweeper into yet another big right-hand sweeper before the main straight. And then it is flat out. Want to try and roll off as little as possible possible for this left-hander. It is not quite full throttle, but you want to be as close as you can to it and really just hang on to the bike and pray it sticks through that part. Looks like Henry McCartney was encountering a little bit of traffic there, as here we see some of our other riders as it stands. There's the 62 of Chris Wells. He's leading Archie Hooper and Samuel Munson at the moment. This is the fight for P7 as it stands. Chris Wells, of course, the 2023 Pit Bike 140 champion. Certainly no slouch on that LRA machine. Oh my goodness me. Wow, Samuel Munson, that is brave, that is aggressive, and it's not quite done yet. Now it is as he slides up the inside of Archie Hooper. But talk about making your... It's still not done. Archie Hooper back up the inside. Come on, guys, let's be sensible here. That is really, really close between the pair of them. Looks like Samuel Munson got a bit bored of being behind the 12. And well, I guess the old saying is, if there's no space there, you can make space. Just shove the other rider out of the way.
Yeah, Ross, just 4 laps left to go. This is looking to become a little four-way battle there, because in the back of our screens we can see Jamie King there looking to get involved in this battle. Chris Wells leading in 7th at the moment, with Archie Hooper and Samuel Munson constantly switching between who is going to be 8th or 9th. The battles we are seeing between these guys in the middle of the pack of our grid is absolutely brilliant stuff. Samuel Munson there, you can see getting down on the throttle to try and make that move on Archie Hooper, but Archie Hooper said no thank you, I'm having that back. Munson currently is racing in the British Talent Cup as well, so it is brilliant to see him joining us here this weekend at FAB-Racing. But Chris Wells holding on to that 7th place position with just 3 laps left to go. Munson always looks and goes through on the inside of Archie Hooper, takes that position back from him, now running in 8th position ahead of Archie Hooper in 9th. That was a brilliant move there we saw from Munson. He was calm, he made that move, took it, but these two neck and neck now. Archie Hooper looking to take that position back, but just can't, and has done it. Archie Hooper back running in 8th position ahead of Munson in 9th. These two playing a game with each other in this race, Ross, constantly swapping. We've got just 2 laps left to go, but Archie Hooper now looks to have made a bit of a gap on Munson there. Absolutely brilliant stuff we are seeing.
It's not done yet though. Once again coming into the chicane, anything there maybe for Munson, not on this occasion, as we head on through, as we wait to see. Of course, leading the race, it is Henry McCartney up the front of the pack. But man, oh man, what a race we are seeing, as there is the number 7 there. That is Logan Cousins. He's currently P4, and on the final lap of the race, there is our race leader with only a handful of corners to go. Henry McCartney has been absolutely phenomenal in this race. He's not disappeared up the front, but it is now a very healthy gap. Henry McCartney, what a win for him in race number 1 of the Amphibian Scaffolding Extreme 200. Kept that pole position and just pushed onwards up the front of the pack. We weren't really focusing on him because he was just slowly extending his gap away at the front of the pack. What a ride though for the number 75, and a well-deserved victory for Big Mac. But man, oh man, what a race that was. And well, what a win. What a well-deserved there for Henry McCartney.
Absolutely, Ross. Henry McCartney, these guys just on their last lap now, still racing. Munson has made that move on Archie Hooper again. Archie Hooper though looked and has taken it. Archie Hooper leads now in that last lap, took that 8th position away from Samuel Munson, but brilliant performance from our race leader Henry McCartney here this weekend. He comes to join us here at Clay Pigeon and has showed his domination and made his mark, should I say, for this weekend coming up. Here's our top 3 now, just coming round into the paddock. Everybody there celebrating, congratulating. Harrison Day there in 2nd position, and Travis Shaw in 3rd. An amazing first race for these guys in the Extreme 200, which is sponsored by Amphibian Scaffolding. They have performed brilliantly in this first race for them.
Absolutely. I do wonder maybe if Samuel Munson was just trying to see what Archie Hooper was made of. We see that sometimes when British Talent Cup riders and beyond come back to Fab for a weekend. Saw it last year especially. I think it was here actually at Clay Pigeon when we had Casey O'Gorman and Wilson Dilks, and Casey was getting in front and really racing Wilson Hart, going, come on then, show me what you can do. I want to see what you can do, before he got bored and decided to disappear off to the distance. But a fantastic race that we have seen there. and that was absolutely fantastic to see. Only 4 races left to go in today's action, and of course race 2 and 3 coming up tomorrow for the amphibian scaffolding Extreme 200. Let's hope for more of the fantastic action that we've just seen there.
Now we have got the Moto team. These guys running split in both the open and standard. We have only got 7 riders joining us this weekend from the Moto team, and it is going to be brilliant stuff we're seeing from them. Team Acme Racing, though, this weekend has not got Marco Pandolfo with them. They have got a new rider who has joined them for this weekend, so it will be brilliant to see how they perform this weekend, as Marco Pandolfo has dominated all season long at the moment. We will have to wait and see what happens. They're coming out now onto track, getting ready to form their grid and go up out on their warm-up lap. Once again, these guys never fail to give us some great entertainment with their racing. The guys on the standard are still up there with those running on the open. The open's meant to have that bit more power, bit more ability, but the guys on the standard are absolutely joining them in the fight.
They absolutely are, and even though they're in 2 different classes, and they know they're in 2 different classes, more often than not, we do see open and standard bikes fighting out there for overall position, even though it doesn't matter for them because they're still going to get the points for wherever they finish relative to their class rather than overall. They just want to go out and have a good race and have a good time. Let's run through the grid, shall we?
In pole position, we have the Team Acme Racing rider. In second, we have the 27 of Ian Jackson. Third, we have the 116 of Joshua French. Fourth, we have the 65 of Harrison O'Keefe. Fifth, we have the 64 of Ben O'Keefe. Sixth, we have the 19 of Robert Baldock. And seventh, rounding out our grid, is the 63 of Gary O'Keefe. All the O'Keefe brothers here with us this weekend, Ross. Absolutely brilliant to see from them. But like I said earlier, a very small grid we've got for Moto teams, so this will make some interesting racing for them. If you want to get involved with any of the racing we do here at FAB-Racing, do check online at the FAB-Racing website. Anybody is welcome to join us.
Absolutely, you are. As the number 8, the Team Acme Racing bike makes its way into pole position. As you said earlier, is he no Marco Pandolfo this weekend? He's back home in Sicily visiting family. Hopefully he's having a good time. Hopefully watching along as well and seeing how the team gets on. But for now, it is all 7 riders onto the grid. Only 2 open bikes and 5 standard bikes await us. A little bit of a push forward there from Ben O'Keefe before the lights go out. It is the number 8 that will lead down into turn number 2. I believe it's Ian Jackson just about holding on there to P2, just behind Joshua French as well in P3 overall. That's second in standard as it stands as they make their way out of the chicane for the first time, bombing down to the hairpin. Does Ian Jackson fancy a look? No, not quite on the number 8 machine. Will have to hold station. These 2 in different classes. It looks like Team Acme, they're in the open class. Ian Jackson, he's leading the way in standard class at the moment, second overall. But, as I said earlier, these guys, they don't really care when they're actually racing, who's in what class. They just want to fight and cross the line first for the honour and the glory. I'm sure that Ian Jackson is going to give that number 8 bike a good old go through this one.
Yes, I'd agree with you, Ross. We've got just 11 laps left to go of the race for the Moto team. Their first race here at Clay Pigeon this weekend. These guys, though, that 27 of Ian Jackson running the standard. Like you were saying, Ross, these guys don't really care what class they're in, who's running open or standard. They just want to fight on these bikes and get that win. But Ian Jackson, so controlled on his bike in the standard class. Also, the same for the Team Acme rider this weekend. All these guys running Moto team always look to be very in control of their bikes, very calm in the races, and are having a bit of fun out there battling for that first place position. But these 2, our front 2 runners, the Team Acme Racing and Ian Jackson, have built up such a big gap between those guys running in third and below. So Joshua French, Harrison O'Keefe, Robert Baldock, Ben O'Keefe and Gary O'Keefe, our front runners have built a gap of 3 seconds ahead of everybody else. There is just 0.4 separating these 2 front runners, and it's brilliant racing we are seeing from these guys so far. 10 laps left to go. Team Acme Racing leading ahead of Ian Jackson on the number 27. Here we see some of the back of the pack of our grid riders here, and they are just all going round, looking to get some battles going. This is a 4, 5 and 6. So we have got Harrison O'Keefe, Robert Baldock and Ben O'Keefe.
Absolutely, this is fighting for P3 in the standard class as well, with only 2 open class riders here with us this weekend. It's of course leading the way overall, the number 8 Team Acme Racing bike, and last overall, unfortunately, Gary O'Keefe is the other one. So these guys still fighting for podium places though. Ben O'Keefe possibly jumping at the start there as well, and so I think Race Control are having a look at that one. We did get something told in our ear, but like he did certainly creep forward, so maybe a penalty heading the way of the 64. We'll have to wait and see as we head on through. It's been told on the number 8, Matt Linley riding on the number 8 bike. So it's Matt Linley in place of Marco Pandolfo this weekend for Team Acme Racing, and currently leading the way in the overall and in the open class as well. Of course, as I said, only 2 open class bikes here this weekend. A lot of riders that we would normally be seeing, I believe they're off racing an endurance event elsewhere this weekend, which is understandable, but good to show that, you know, Moto Team, it's a set of regulations that you can use all across racing. And of course, it is the cheapest form of motorsport in the UK. So that's a nice little move there by Ben O'Keefe from Robert Baldock to get on by and up into P4 in class. And well, yeah, I mean, as I said, it's the cheapest form of motorsport, so maybe easy when you've got your bike license, you know, and you fancy giving it a go, you know, on a budget, this could be for you.
Maybe, Ross, it'll probably be a couple of years yet until I'm getting that licence sorted out, but we've got just 7 laps left to go for the first Moto Team race of the weekend here at Clay Pigeon. Matt Linley for Team Acme Racing leading. He's absolutely brilliant this weekend. He has come in and he's showing I can ride as well. Back now we are with our leaders. A big gap now Matt Linley has got ahead of Ian Jackson on that number 27. Sort of, we can kind of see here, Ross, where those open and those standards are slightly different, and that open can get that bit more out of the bike and get those gaps, lead away from the others, as we have seen at past weekends so far this season. 6 laps left to go, and Matt Linley running in first ahead of the 27 of Ian Jackson. Joshua French running in third, but there it is. That bike for Team Acme Racing is so identifiable, Ross. You know it the moment you see it, that bright blue with that number 8 on the front. You know, if you see that running away from everybody else, you know it will be Team Acme Racing leading ahead of the others.
Yeah, been pretty dominant so far this season in the open class, that number 8 machine. And you do see it sometimes in Moto Team, must be said. You know, when we get the 96 of Will Howard, the blonde bombshell, when he fancies turning up, he usually puts in a shift and a half and runs away at the front when he's not here, though, which is more often than not, unfortunately, nowadays. It is normally that number 8 bike in the open class that just starts pulling away at the front, and you can see here, especially as the race pulls on. And again, that's partially down to the difference between the open and the standard class. As you said, the standard class, it is literally just a dirt cheap road bike with a race fairing stuck on it. Off you go, having fun. The open class, you're allowed to tinker with it a little bit, get it down and dirty, change a few parts, which means that, you know, as the race wears on, as the bike gets on, it doesn't just start crying and going, what's going on, I'm not supposed to be ridden this hard. You know, it's able just to push that a little bit further on, which is why that gap is now starting to extend between the number 8 and the number 27, even though, again, they're not actually fighting for position, they're both leading their respective classes.
Yeah, exactly, Ross. 4 laps left to go, but like you were just saying, these bikes, even open, they are quite cheap to run and get involved with. If you would like to get involved with Moto Team Racing, it is so simple to do. Have a look on the FAB-Racing website. I mean, I was speaking to some of the guys at Houghton Park last weekend, and they said they get their wheels from Moto 3. And they love doing it, and it is something for them to enjoy all the time. On our screens at the moment, we can see our 3rd place runner, the 116 of Joshua French. He's got himself quite comfortable here. He's not really under pressure from anyone, but he's also just feeling his bike, how it is in this first race, away from anybody else. And it's kind of like he's just coming and finding his pace with his bike, knowing where he can push it, where he can't push it, and testing his limits. There we see the number 65 of Harrison O'Keefe, followed closely behind by his brother on the number 64, Ben O'Keefe. The O'Keefe brothers never fail to entertain us. Every weekend when we chat with them, Ross, they never don't have us laughing.
Yeah, they are a very, very funny bunch, the O'Keefes, and really appreciated within the FAB-Racing paddock. When they first showed up here at the start of 2024, none of them, three of them, had ever raced in their lives. You know, they were very, very green to racing, and they turned up, they immediately cemented themselves, and every weekend was an improvement. And you still see, even into 2025, every weekend they're still learning and still having a blast as well, which is really what Moto Team is about. It's about bringing a community together, getting a load of guys who just like going out there and getting on a bike and going racing. And it's always great to see the O'Keefes going out there normally with a giant smile on the face because one of the other ones has crashed or they're screwing someone else's race up on their behalf. So they are a top bunch. Starting the final lap though, it is Matt Lindley leading the way overall and in the open class on the number 8 bike, and he's now really opened that gap up to Ian Jackson on the number 27. It is looking pretty comfortable, and especially given that the only other open bike is currently running last overall in Gary O'Keefe, so it should be a pretty easy victory in open for Team FAB-Racing. And Ian Jackson as well, well up the road from Joshua French in P2 in the standard class, so the gap's pretty big in this one. Already celebrating Matt Lindley, come on man. I mean, I've got to respect it, but getting cocky on the number 8. Matt Lindley checks back, legs out in the air a few corners before the end and cruises across the line. The point to the camera, put that one on your screensaver. Matt Lindley for Team FAB-Racing takes a fantastic victory overall, and of course in the open class as well, and getting the celebrations out early. Oh, that might ruffle a few feathers in the paddock. It's Ian Jackson who takes the victory in the standard class and second overall. Joshua French rounds out the podium and second in standard as well. But as the race wore on in that overall fight for the lead, again, irrespective of overall class position and points, they were still fighting at the start, but in the end, that number 8 bike, just too good, just started to pull away.
Yes, Ross, you know Marco Pandolfo, if he is watching right now, he'll be very happy with his decision of having Matt Lindley join the team for this weekend here at Clay Pigeon. He has come in and he has shown everyone and said, look, I can race just as good as everybody else can. I'm a newbie, but I know what I'm doing, and there he is now, just coming up to that first position at the podium, having a little chat there with Jamie King and Mr. Pitbike Sonic himself, just waiting for our other riders to come in there. But that was a brilliant first race for the Moto team, the standard and the open all getting involved with each other. Looking forward to their other 2 races tomorrow.
Absolutely, should be very, very enjoyable, and good to see that the 27 of Ian Jackson in the standard class, especially in the first half of that race, was able to fight out on track with the open class as well. Potentially shows moving forward in this weekend and the season, maybe that split between the top guys in the open and the top guys in standard just getting that little bit smaller. As there is Ian Jackson on the 27 taking his first place in the standard class, and a very respectable P2 overall as well. A nice little ride from him, and he'll be feeling very, very confident moving forward into race number 2 and race number 3 tomorrow, alongside all of the other riders. Again, with only 7 bikes out there, everyone here picking up very, very strong points.
Coming up now, we have the race for the MK Mini GP 50s. Once again, these are never fail to give us some good racing. We are just waiting now for them to be allowed out on track, form the grid, and then they will be released for their warm-up lap. These guys, though, absolutely brilliant stuff, looking to make their way eventually into the MK Mini GP70, but for now they are MK Mini GP50. Here they are now, just lining up for on the grid, ready to go for their warm-up lap. A lot of the riders in this, though, Ross, also race in the Mini GP50 are that we saw a few races earlier. These guys know what they're doing, get comfortable every race, and never fail to give us a show.
No, they do not. It's always exciting here in the 50s class, brought to you by King's 2 Wheel Centre. and it should be interesting to see how it's going to go. A very familiar front row, similar to what we saw in the 50R race earlier on, but swapped. It's Kozlowski on pole this time with Curtis alongside in P2, and once again a very big grid of 17 riders here at Clay Pigeon. Should be really interesting to see how this one unfolds. Kozlowski's been dominant this season. Let's see if someone can maybe stop him this weekend.
I agree, Ross, but let's have a run through of how our grid is looking. So Sebastian Gazlowski in pole position. In second we have Bradley Curtis. Third we have Rex Austin. Fourth Tommy Keats. Fifth Jensen Ansell. Sixth Kai Hawken. Seventh Caelan Ratcliffe. Eighth Josh Perkins. Ninth Max Johnson. 10th Nicholas Dunwoody. 11th Bo Morris. 12th Daisy Polden. 13th Preston Baker. 14th Harry James. 15th Callum Maxwell. 16th Bojan Blazewski, and rounding out our top 17 is Oliver Wilson, starting 17th on our grid. Like Ross was saying earlier, a big grid we have here for the Mini GP 50s, making way for lots of exciting racing for their first race of this weekend. They're just coming now round. A final few riders coming to make up the grid. Let's see what's going to happen in this race. Who is going to dominate and who is going to have be in those lower positions. We are just going to have to wait and see what happens. On our screen now we can just see the back of the grid, and Marshall's there just making sure everybody's right in the right position, all lined up okay. They're clearing now and making way. We are going to see our flag marshal just pointing to the lights, and it is lights on and lights out, and away we go racing here. Sebastian Gazlowski, fabulous start from him. The 991 of Rex Austin just snuck up past Bradley Curtis there to take second position away from him, but once again Super Seb proving what he does best, having a brilliant start and making that gap away from everyone else in this first lap here. But Rex Austin though, a brilliant start from him, up past Bradley Curtis in second position. And in fourth place running we have Tommy Keats. So Tommy Keats has held his position, but he will be looking to get involved with the battle between these guys here for those second and third positions. But once again a brilliant start for Sebastian Gazlowski. Just look at that gap he's making so far here at the last, in this last bit of the first lap of racing. Absolute dominant start for him. Rex Austin holding on to that second position. The 71 of Bradley Curtis is going to be looking to put some pressure on that 991 of Rex Austin here at Clay Pigeon. A fabulous start for this race, Ross.
Certainly trying to put some pressure on him down into the hairpin. Couldn't find anything but Curtis. You could see into turn number 2, the bike really moving underneath him. He's really starting to push early doors in this race. He wants to get back into P2 in front of the fast starting Rex Austin on the 991. Let's see if he can set anything up out of the final corner. Getting the toe, getting the drag down into turn number 1. Has to roll off the throttle unless he gets a good exit here. I think he'll have to stay P3. Certainly looks to the inside, but nothing on that occasion either. Kozlowski hasn't shot away into the distance in this one just yet either, so there is still potentially a battle for the win on our hands. And Rex Austin, meanwhile, he'll be desperate to hold on to that second place as well. Currently second in the championship and not far away from Kozlowski on the 64. So he'll be looking to try and get as many points as he can in this one, especially if Kozlowski is looking like he is the class of the field heading into round number 4 this weekend here at Clay Pigeon. Coming to the line once again, 8 laps left to run as they break the beam down into turn 1. Anything for Curtis? No, once again, just a little bit too far back. Can't quite get that drive that he needs out of the final corner. Currently, he's just going to have to settle for P3. Maybe something into the hairpin. Once again, nothing. Curtis just not able to find that gap at the moment.
No, 8 laps left of racing to go for the guys on the MK Mini GP50. Like Ross was saying, you can see Bradley Curtis, when he is looking to make those moves, he has that moment of realisation, oh, I'm not quite going to do it just now, and then settles in behind Rex Austin again and constantly thinking about where it is he can make that move and get that position from him. He's got to close down that gap a little bit more though to be able to push on that throttle and get up past him. Just coming past some back markers now are these front runners here. that could also cause issue. We said this earlier, traffic always causes issues here because people have got to weave in and out, through and past them to continue their racing out in front. 7 laps of racing left to go. Sebastian Gazowski, Super Seb, just in the corner of our screen there, running in first position, closely followed by Rex Austin in second and Bradley Curtis in third. Bradley Curtis there looking to make a move, but still, once again, he just can't quite get enough throttle and enough out of his bike to take that position away from Rex Austin running in second. We have got 6 laps left to go. They're just coming through that little chicane now, little bend there, and still Rex Austin holding on to that second position. He looks comfy with his position there. He knows Bradley Curtis is just behind him, looking to put the pressure on, but he's noticing that Bradley Curtis just can't quite get enough out of his bike to put enough pressure on and make that move and take that position. There on our screens is the number 96 of Caelan Ratcliffe, who is currently running in 6th position. He's under pressure from Kai Hawkin, running in 7th position currently. Caelan Ratcliffe, though, looking to hold on to that 6th position, get those points that he will from it, with just 4 laps of racing left to go, or 5.
Getting very, very tight between these two. I think they swapped on the previous lap, actually, so I think Caelan Ratcliffe got in front of Kai Hawkin. Now Kai Hawkin trying to return the favour, trying to see if he can launch something special. A little bit too far back on that occasion as the bike once again chattering away on the front end. It is quite bumpy here at Clay Pigeon. At certain parts of the circuit, you can really upset the bike if you hit something ever so slightly wrong. Into the final section we fly once again, and it is still in this battle. Ratcliffe holding on from Hawkin. Hawkin did set his personal best lap of the race on the previous tour, 40.058. Let's see if he breaks into the 39s on this lap. Yes, he does, 39.997. So now following a rider who's maybe slightly quicker, able to see where he could improve. Chasing does make you faster sometimes. You can just follow your opponent, kind of sink into what they're doing. The gap, though, opening up ever so slightly. Hawkins not going to have an opportunity on this one. Might have to focus back in with a handful of laps left to go, as a yellow flag out there, and that's a big one, and that is Bradley Curtis, who's had a huge off coming into the final few corners. The red flag is going to be waved here surely, and yes it is. And another rider down as well. Was that trying to avoid Curtis maybe? I believe that's Caelan Ratcliffe, who's gone down, I think, trying to avoid Curtis. That's just afterwards. But a huge crash here at Clay Pigeon brings out the red flag. We'll update you as soon as we know that everyone is okay. But Bradley Curtis involved in a big one coming into the final few corners. And that is not the way you want a race to end with 3 laps left to go. I think they will probably call that one there. The marshals, of course, running over to offer immediate assistance. The medics en route straight away. A big thank you to all the marshals and all of the medics for their fantastic support and everything they do. Of course, we can't go racing without them. They do a fantastic job. But as the riders come to a stop, we'll let you know as soon as we know that everybody is okay, and of course we will let you know whether this race will be restarted. Unfortunately, Izzy, with 3 laps left to run, I think that one might get called there.
Yeah, I think so too, Ross. We can see now they're just being brought round the track that little bit more to be brought in, I think, and call the end of that race. They've just got to, some of these guys here have got caught up behind the crash, so they've just got to be carefully brought past where Bradley Curtis had his crash. But it was an amazing race up to that point. We were seeing some brilliant dominating, some defensive moves from people, and also attacks as well. So we are just going to have to hold fire a few minutes longer, find out what's happening. The medics are on the track now attending to Bradley Curtis, and we hope he will all be okay. I think that is our riders being brought off track now, Ross, with just 3 laps left to go. With just 3 laps left to go, like Ross was saying, that probably will be that race called, and that be the end of it for today. But these guys will be back tomorrow. We are just waiting for it to be confirmed by race control what will be happening after that crash. If you have just joined us, don't worry, you haven't missed any racing. We have just had a little crash occur on track, so we are just waiting to be updated. Let us know where you are watching from, who you will be supporting. Like, subscribe, share. Let us know where you're watching. Ross, though, so far we've had an absolutely amazing afternoon of racing here Saturday at Clay Pigeon.
We have, and the crowd have certainly been enjoying all of the action here. You can see a huge crowd. We know we've got a lot of local riders who've joined us this weekend. There is a local mini bike championship run here at Clay and at other tracks around the southwest and in the West Country. So a lot of riders coming along for this weekend to join in the fun, and then as a result bringing family, bringing friends along, which is why we have such a bumper crowd here. But again, the crowd's been growing every single round here in FAB-Racing. You know, FAB has been exploding in popularity this year, which is fantastic to see. You know, we're getting clips of some riders getting millions of views out on the internet, and it is great to see young riders getting their names out there. Just want to flash back to the race that we're currently in the red flag of at the moment, the Mini GP 50 race brought to you by King's Two Wheel Centre. Again, we are assuming that race will be ended there. It was only 3 laps left to go when the red flag was brought out, as there is the rider who was in P1 when the red flag was waved, Sebastian Gazlawski, and alongside him Rex Austin, who was in P2 on the 991. Now they are P1 and 2 in the championship. If that race is ended there and they finish P1 and 2, the championship gap extends up to 34 points. So that'll be if Gazlawski doesn't finish a race for whatever reason and then Austin takes victory, then that comes down to 11. So not a huge margin, but it's over a race win in Gazlawski's favour. So more comfortable than I think Austin would like. A lot of that is down to the first round of the season when Gazlawski swept the weekend, took 3 wins. Austin only took a handful of points, 22 at the end of the weekend. And then outside of that one, we had the second round at Ella Park, which unfortunately was a shortened round. We only got 2 races in for these guys. Gazlawski had DNF in 1 race. 2 second places for Rex Austin meant that he took more points, and then 9 more points from the last round at Houston Park from Rex Austin than Gazlawski, with 2 wins from Austin to Gazlawski's 1. So over the last 2 rounds on the stat sheet, Austin has actually been the better rider. He's had the more points, he's had the better finishes, etc, been more consistent. But of course, the eye test so far this weekend, Sebastian Gazlawski on the 64 has been a little bit better. And well, we'll have to wait and see what is going to be happening with this race, and we'll wait and see hopefully soon if we are going to be getting back underway, or if we are going to be calling that one there, and we'll be back out tomorrow for race 2 and 3. Of course, we'll let you know as soon as we know that Bradley Curtis is okay. He was the rider that went down and brought out the red flag. And hopefully it won't be too long now till we're back racing.
Hopefully not, Ross. We will just have to wait and see what happens. But once again, a big thank you to all the marshals and the medical team who join us at these rounds of racing with FAB-Racing. Their support and help is massively appreciated, and we thank them for everything they do to help out. But we are still just waiting for it to be confirmed what will be happening with the remaining 3 laps of this race, whether it will be called for today and we'll have them back for races 2 and 3 tomorrow, or if they are actually going to come out on track and finish their last 3 laps. But in that race before the crash, Sebastian Gazlawski once again absolutely dominating on the track. They don't call him Super Seb for no reason. He always puts on a show and gets ahead of everyone else and performs brilliantly. We're still waiting to see what happens. It is unconfirmed currently what is happening, but we do believe that will be the end of the first race for the MK Mini GP 50 riders. But before that crash, they were all performing brilliantly. It has now been confirmed, everybody, if you are joining us, watching with us, that will be the end of the MK Mini GP 50 race. We are just waiting now for the results. So Sebastian Gazlawski is the winner of that race. In second position, we have Rex Austin. Bradley Curtis was running in 3rd before the crash, and he was followed by Tommy Keats, then Jensen Ansell, Caelan Ratcliffe, Kai Hawken, Josh Perkins, Nicholas Dunwoody, Bo Morris, Max Johnson, Daisy Polden, Preston Baker, Harry James, Callum Maxwell, Bojan Blazewski, and rounding out our positions for where people will be winning is Oliver Wilson. Tomorrow these guys will be back though and looking to push even harder after that race has been shortened. So tomorrow, do not forget to join us. We will still be bringing you all the action for Sunday with FAB-Racing. But there we go, that will be the end of the MK Mini GP50 race for today.
Absolutely. There you see the riders, they'll be making their way back into the paddock. most of their action is done for today, of course, unless any of them are out in the 70s class, which will be up after this one. Of course, the premier class of racing here at FAB. But yeah, the riders just making their way out of the dummy grid. As there we see some of our riders there. There we see Jamie King, Pit Bike Sonic, the 4-time Pit Bike 140 champion. And I tell you what, we're here at Clay Pigeon. It's a pretty good track. Jamie King does some onboard sometimes. He has a GoPro on his bike. So why don't we take an onboard lap with Jamie King?
Right guys, let's do a lap of this Clay Pigeon race circuit on my FAB-140 pit bike. End of this last corner in 4th gear, power out. Down the start and finish into turn 1 straight away. Keep it pinned and then down to 3rd with this quick right hand to hit the apex and then power on all the way round. Knee doesn't leave the ground and then hit this 2nd apex. Flick it over to the left. As soon as you're out, up into the 4th. Back down to 3rd for the tightest corner on the track. Late apex, keep it tight. And then power on out. This double apex left. Hit the first one, drift out. Hit the second one to get the power for this fast right. Keep it close on the curb. Hold it in 4th for the final corner. And out you come for the start and finish. And that is a lap of Clay Pigeon.
Well then, that's how you do a lap here at Clay Pigeon. On board with Jamie King there from last year. There are probably faster ways to do it than Jamie King just did, but it's the best that we have, unfortunately. He said he was going slow for the video. Knowing Jamie King, that was actually him at full pace. Just joking. But yeah, Jamie King, he'll be out a little bit later with the Pit Bike 140s. There we see him alongside Sebastian Kozlowski's granddad, I believe that is. And they'll be very happy as he picks up another race win in that shortened Mini GP 50s race brought to you by King's 2-Wheel Centre. So hopefully not too far away before we get on to the main event, the 70s, and then one more race after that one. That will be the Pit Bike 140s with a huge grid of riders here this weekend. That is sure to be an absolute blockbuster. But it must be said, Izzy, we've had a fantastic day of racing here so far. And with only 2 more left, it's actually quite a shame because I've been enjoying myself so much. I can't wait for tomorrow to get started.
Me either, Ross. It being my first time here at Clay Pigeon as well, it's been absolutely brilliant to see all the racing. Here we can see some of those guys that were racing earlier. On the left, we have Munson. Both of these riders racing in the British Talent Cup at the moment, which could potentially be the next step for some of our riders we are seeing in FAB-Racing. Like we always say, guys, this is on the road to MotoGP. If you want to get a career in racing, this is where you want to be starting. Absolutely brilliant stuff and support we see for all our riders in the FAB-Racing series, encouraging everybody to go further and get into those other classes, the British Talent Cup, and eventually potentially into British Superbikes. Quite a few of our old FAB riders we do see in British Superbikes now, racing with some of the big guys.
We absolutely do, and maybe Samuel Munson, maybe Isaiah Devine will be up there in BSB in a few years' time. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds, but we certainly have some talented riders here. Go on to bigger and better things in FAB-Racing, of course. FAB-Racing, part of the Dorna Road to MotoGP programme. Been that way since 2019 when over 60% of the R&G British Talent Cup field came from FAB-Racing, the first championship in the UK to be awarded that accolade by Dorna. And we've been holding on to it with pride ever since. And of course, part of this motivation to get more younger riders out there and kind of streamline the structure up into Grand Prix bike racing. And who knows, maybe one of the riders that we're watching here today will be up in MotoGP in a few years' time. If not there, then maybe World Superbikes, maybe British Superbikes. Who knows? We've had riders go there before, of course, the likes of Scott Ogden, Danny Kent up in MotoGP, probably half the British Superbike field. Of course, Brad Ray coming through here as well, riders up in World Superbikes as well. We've had a fair few who have made a fantastic name for themselves in the world of bike racing. And of course, we want to prove that us here on this small little island, sat in the middle of the ocean, that we've got some people that can ride half all right as the Europeans as well. So it is really important that we really promote these young riders. So wherever you're watching the world, thank you for your support. Thank you for supporting the Master Mac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the stream, all of the above, to help get these young riders' names out there. Help show what grassroots racing in the UK looks like, and show what these young riders can do out there. Hopefully moving on to bigger and better things in the future. We're just waiting to get one of our main events underway in the Mini GP70s. Only a small grid in this one, unfortunately. Is he just looking forward a little bit? Only 6 riders coming into it, but really close out there. The top 4 all covered by less than a half a second in qualifying.
Yeah, exactly, Ross. And looking at the 6 riders we've got joining us for the Mini GP70 this weekend. Last weekend, when we were at Hooton Park, it was everyone's first time at Hooton Park, but these guys got to terms with the track very quickly, and the battles we saw between all 6 of these, we were having some tight battles for first, for second, for third, for those top 3 positions. Constantly seeing some very good battles between those guys there. We can just see our flag marshal for the weekend just waiting there. We're just waiting to see when our riders will be allowed out on track for their warm-up lap, and then we will have the premier class of FAB-Racing, the Mini GP70s, underway. But so far we have seen a brilliant weekend of racing at the moment, and absolutely, we've only had one race for everyone so far, but it has been a brilliant performances from them. They are getting some very quick lap times in here at Clay Pigeon. Like I was saying to Ross earlier, my first time here, and I'll be honest, every weekend so far in FAB-Racing, every track we've been to, it just seems, as the season's going on, as all the riders get more comfortable with their bikes once again, after getting through that new season opening when they're not too sure, they haven't been on the bike as much as they usually are, they're just coming to terms with it. Any tweaks, any changes they've made, that is what the first sort of weekend is all about, and then they're just getting more and more comfortable with their bikes, pushing them to the limit, trying as hard as they can to push everything they can from their bikes, and they are getting some rapid lap times in.
Absolutely, these guys have been doing a fantastic job. Of course, if you're joining us on Motorsport Radio, we hope you're enjoying the action so far. We've got some more racing that has been announced for the remainder of this season in September. We've got the final 2 rounds of EMRA coming your way. Plenty of action from Mallory Park, of course. If you're listening in at Motorsport Radio, of course, this is the place to listen along to radio coverage of the IndyCar series, as that starts already somehow getting into the dying phase of their season. It's amazing how quick that's gone, but make sure if you need to listen in to any IndyCar, you can listen in here at Motorsport Radio. And, of course, British Superbikes. We've got plenty of coverage for that one, don't you worry. As we can see a bit of a crowd starting to form. That's at the grandstand that's right down the bottom end of the circuit. So those guys have gone on a big old trek down there, so kudos to them. Last year it was empty the entire weekend, but safe to be said, the viewing areas around the paddock have been absolutely rammed. Were absolutely rammed last year as well. Don't let those couple of people sat there for you that FAB-Racing is not growing in popularity. So I hope everyone there is enjoying the show, and we hope that we're able to get racing once again in just a few short moments' time. Of course, if you are just joining us, we are experiencing just a bit of a lengthy delay, a red flagged end to the Mini GP50s race, unfortunately, as a result of a accident caused by Bradley Curtis, and we'll let you know that he is all okay as soon as we know that he is okay, that the track is now clear. I think we're just waiting for a final few confirmations from race control until we get going. I think that might be Ollie Horner there on the left, a face we've not seen at FAB-Racing in a while. He's certainly, at least I think it's him, because he's certainly grown up a little bit since the last time we saw him. The last time we saw him up in the British Talent Cup. Had some relative success here in FAB-Racing across the years, and a local boy, I believe he's only from Salisbury down the road, so he's not been seen here in FAB-Racing for a while. So if that is Ollie Horner, and my eyes aren't deceiving me, and that's what he looks like nowadays, good to see him back at FAB-Racing. And if it's not Ollie Horner, well, I'm assuming you're riding because you're in leathers anyway. I hope you're enjoying the show and hope you're having a good weekend.
Yeah, to be fair, we've seen quite a few spectators turning up in leathers this weekend. We've got quite a few bikes just outside the building we're in, Ross. And that's brilliant to see as well, because, you know, sometimes when you see guys have turned up in leathers, they've come on a bit of a trip out, come to support and see the younger guys and support them in getting their dreams and racing for as long as they can. And it's just been brilliant stuff to see. In our corner of our screen right now, we can see the number 991 of Rex Austin, and I do believe next to him that is the 96 of Caelan Ratcliffe, a young boy from Dudley, an area I am quite familiar with. So it's nice to see some of those guys here as well at FAB-Racing. Absolutely brilliant stuff to see.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit of a local representation there for you, Izzy. I think one of the parents as well. Not quite 5 o'clock, already enjoying a beverage to himself. Fair play, sir. You do you. But clearly their day's done for the team, so they're happy just to crack on and get relaxed and rested before we go racing once again tomorrow. So, as we are just still waiting to see what's going to happen over the remainder of the day. We were running quite a bit ahead of schedule, to be fair, so although we are in a delay, we still have plenty of time on our hands before the sun sets, certainly. It is still very much in the middle of summer as well, so it's been a very, very interesting day. We just had a message pop through from Race Control, just confirming that the results from the Mini GP 50s race, that is now final, and so that is how it is all going to unfold there. So just to remind you, it was Sebastian Goslavsky taking the victory in that one, with Rex Austin in P2 and Bradley Curtis in P3. Alright, he was P3 until unfortunately he came off the bike, but I believe he will be classified there as a result. So we are expecting, Race Control say, Roger Keys, the race director here at FAB-Racing, he is expecting that we'll get the 70s race started in 10 to 15 minutes. They will give us an advanced warning. So as soon as we get that message through from Race Control, we can confirm things are a go. And maybe just a delay to let people watch the end of the Formula 1 qualifying. If people like a bit of four-wheeled action, I don't know. But here, we're very much focused on the two wheels here at FAB-Racing, unless there's a medical car out on track or something doing hot laps because they feel like it. I don't know, someone might get a bit bored.
Yeah, exactly, Ross. We are focused on the two-wheel racing here. And I'll be honest, sometimes I do find the two wheels are a bit more exciting. You have a bit more happen than those on the four wheels. We have this conversation quite a bit, Ross, but two wheels, motorbikes, that is what we are about here at FAB-Racing.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the great debate, to be fair, isn't it? I mean, I've had people people in the fat paddock have a go at me for saying I was going to go home and watch the Formula 1 later on, and then, you know, vice versa. I've had people, you know, in Formula 1 look at me weird when I've said I'm going to go and watch the MotoGP or the British Superbike something. It's always weird to me when people don't watch both, because, you know, I'm a fan of racing at the end of the day, but, you know, here at Fab, you know, it is some of the finest two-wheeled action you'll find anywhere in the UK, and it is always a pleasure to see. And of course, the best place for young riders to start their career as well, of course, the best British Minibike Championship on offer, the starting point into the British Talent Cup, into British Superbikes, into MotoGP and World Superbikes. So many riders that have made it up onto the international stage, making their start on two wheels here at the Mastermac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. The sun is now shining here at Clay Pigeon. It is a beautiful day here, as we are now somehow already in August. I'm not quite sure how we're already in August, but still been a very interesting season so far, it must be said. And of course, one of the things we haven't talked that much about today, actually, the House of Moto All-Female Rider Cup, something that we do really need to be keeping an eye on. Of course, the first ever all-female grassroots racing Ryder Cup in the UK, brought by the House of Moto, and one of the best initiatives in Europe for young female riders. It's run by Lauren. She goes out there, she supports young female riders all across Europe, here at FAB-Racing especially. She helps run a few riders herself, helps with coaching, managing, things like that. And then as well, she goes forward and helps run the all-female Ryder Cup, which is for, funnily enough, all the female riders we have in the paddock. And it's taken from across all classes. Nelly Knuth was the champion last year, as well as being the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup champion, and we know what a little superstar she is. She's already gaining herself an international fan base. You see lots of people cheering her on from all over the world, especially America. Seems very popular in America for some reason. Maybe she's got a career in Moto America or something on that. But it's always interesting to see what's happening in the all-female rider house of Moto, and hopefully we can see what's happening there as the riders continuing to push onwards.
Yeah, exactly right, Ross. We can see now, I've got some information about who is where at the moment in the Female Highest Achieving Racer Award. At the moment, for the 2025 season, Nelly Knuth is flying ahead of everybody else with 195 points. Following her in second is Danny Longhurst with 175 points. Danny races in the AC40 Pro Series. Also running in the AC40 Pro Series, currently running in third, is Claudia Dudman with 158 points. Keely Bailey in the AC40 Rookies in fourth with 119 points. Daisy Polden running in the MK50s is in fifth with 113 points, followed closely by her sister Savannah Polden, who is running in the AC40 Rookies and has 111 points. Bailey Lawrence is in seventh with 94 points. She is running in the Pit Bike 140 series. Then Daisy Grayson for the AC40 Inters is in 8th with 83 points. Izzy Cook for the AC40 Rookies is in 9th with 52 points. And then rounding out our positions is Lotzie Styles for the AC40 Rookies. She has just 12 points. But absolutely brilliant stuff to see the support we have got here for female riders. All the work that is being done by House of Moto and Lauren to support them and through their racing careers is brilliant stuff to see. She actually this year sponsors Daisy and Savannah, so a lot of her stuff that we see on social media at the moment is promoting them. I can actually see her outside of our window right now.
Yeah, unfortunately she's not watching along on the live stream. She's mid-conversation with one of the guys over in race control at the moment, just having a chat, or I would have got her to come and give us a wave or something along those lines. But if you are watching along the live stream, come and knock on our commentary box window and frighten everything out of us or something if you want, as we are still waiting for confirmation that we are going to get this 70s race. Hopefully we'll be getting it underway within the next 10 minutes, but we're still just waiting to find out. Of course, the penultimate race of the day, after that it will be the Pit Bike 140s. They've got a huge grid coming into this one. Some 20 riders looking forward. In fact, it's more than that. It's 22, should I say. No Taylor Lawrence, though, unfortunately, which is a massive shame. Of course, Taylor, a former champion in the Pit Bike 140 class, went off and decided to go and join the Navy a few years ago. But last year, when we got to Clay Pigeon, one of his local tracks, he decided to show up and show that even though he doesn't spend his time riding bikes as much anymore, hadn't lost an ounce of his talent, absolutely showed everybody up, it was fantastic to have him back, and it was fantastic to see that he still got it and was still just that good on a pit bike. But unfortunately not here with us this weekend, which is a real shame. Hopefully Taylor's watching along. Taylor, hope you are doing well, and hopefully you can make it back and show everyone that you've still got it again sometime soon. If not here at Clay Pigeon tomorrow, maybe somewhere else. Of course, still a few rounds left in the season. Only 2 tracks to go, though, interestingly enough, Izzy. Of course, there are 3 rounds left, but 2 of those at the same track. But again, crucially, not a double round. At in a couple of weeks' time, in fact, not very far away at all, we are heading up to Rowra for round number 5, a real classic of FAB-Racing, one of the most picturesque tracks in the entire country. And then round number 6, 12th to the 14th of September, we'll be heading to Three Sisters. Round number 7, the 9th to the 11th of October, again heading to Three Sisters. So it's not a double round like we saw at Rowra last year, where you're getting 6 races in one weekend, which was quite frankly really tiring for everyone involved. But it's still the same track, but again, it'll be slightly colder, very different conditions in October to September. So it is almost going to be like it's a different track itself.
Yeah, exactly. And like we've talked about a lot, Ross, the weather can change how things happen out on track all the time. whether it's raining switches things up massively. It's almost like people panic when it rains, and rain causes a bit of panic for everyone in the paddock, really, because that track becomes slippy, and when it becomes slippy there's more crashes and we're at risk of anything happening. On our screens at the moment, yes, we can see a lovely seagull on the roof of the hut, but in the background the weather, we have got bright sunshine here at Clay Pigeon, and honestly, when we have the warmer weather at our tracks, we are just, with the weather and when it's good, we just see some brilliant racing happening. That is when the quick lap times are put in. We only really saw a bit of rain really at our first round in Lydd and then at Hooton Park the other week. And actually, Hooton Park, when the rain hit, because it was a new track to everybody slowed down immediately, and we were having some lap times. There was about a 15-second increase when the rain hit, but it was only patches. And then when it got a lot brighter again, everybody was putting those quicker lap times in again. And it was an amazing weekend at Hooton Park the other week, a new track, and it was brilliant stuff to see.
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of the joy of racing in the rain, I suppose, isn't it? They call it the great equaliser for a reason. It puts everyone at a level playing field, essentially, but so much of it is, yes, you have to adapt your technique, you have to run different lines, you have to know how to ride in the rain, but so much of it is about how confident you are in riding in those conditions. That is 90% of the game, because you can have all the technical ability in the world in the wet, but if you are not as confident as someone else, they are going to beat you out on the racetrack. So it's things like that, and especially for young riders as well, where a lot of them are still building their confidence on bikes, building their experience. Of many of them, especially our youngest rookie riders, many of them won't have been on bikes for longer than a couple of months. So it is conditions like that. Yes, it is tricky for the riders, and it makes things interesting, and especially when you're in a new track like Hooton Park, you do see those big lap time increases, but it is important because it gets riders used to those conditions, and especially in this country where it does tend to rain quite a lot. Like, I know everyone always bangs on about how everyone has to go to Europe nowadays over the winter to try and keep pace with the amount of testing that European kids are doing, but at least we get rain, so when it rains, at least our lot know what we're doing, or something along those lines anyway, I suppose. You can see there some more of the crowd watching along. It's still not quite 5 o'clock, but again, some of the crowd have decided it's time to whip out a few beverages. We saw some people on the Prosecco about 1 o'clock earlier. Real party atmosphere here this weekend at Clay Pigeon. It's not quite Wimbledon levels of that's 10 o'clock, time to whip out the Pims, but it's getting that way. But it's early August, it's a lovely summer day, it's not too hot, it's fair enough. Enjoy yourselves.
Exactly, Ross, and we've seen some brilliant weather at all our rounds, and we've had quite a few summer rounds this year. Although we did start the year a little bit earlier than we usually do, we've had quite a few races in July, August, and we've got another one coming up in August in a couple of weeks when we're at Rover in West Cumbria, so can't wait to get there for that round. But like we've been saying, the weather, across the UK in general, it's been a lot hotter this year, and honestly, I'm enjoying it. I'm loving the heat, and it's absolutely brilliant to have the racing in the heat as well. One of the kids there on the screen looks to be playing a bit of hide and seek with our camera, Ross, as we can see him just there. There's a cute little smile from him, and he's just running away now. He was playing a little bit of hide and seek with one of our camera operators there just then. We are still just waiting for it to be confirmed when the MK Mini GP70 will be going out onto track. Like we say, the premier class of racing here at FAB-Racing. You want to be racing in the Mini GP70s when you can, as soon as you can.
Absolutely, and having a championship in the Mini GP70s here on your CV really does help a lot moving forward with your career. And the list of names that have won this championship in years gone by, it does read like a who's who of modern British bike racing. Basically everyone who's doing anything in British bike racing, either domestically or on an international stage nowadays, have all won this championship. So it just goes to show, this, even though this is grassroots racing, yes, and these riders, as competitive as the 70s championship is, they're still very, very young. And at the end of the day, we are still racing on kart circuits here as well. We're not racing on full-blown proper racetracks yet. But it still takes a lot to win this championship, and winning this championship can do a lot to help your career. Of course, the rider currently on track for that, Harrison Day, he's got a big points advantage as it stands, 62 points ahead of Travis Shaw coming forward. Of course, this is the place to be, and Harrison Day is the one who is currently on top of the standings. A championship in the 70s that has been dominated in the last couple of years. Of course, we saw Wilson Dilks take a fantastic victory in it last year. Harrison Day taking a fantastic lead in it this year as well. As we see there, a bit of football there in the background. Of course, football season is back as well. If any of you were unfortunate enough to tune into Wimbledon Luton the other day, what a great game that was. There we see some of the marshals watching along. A big thank you to all of them for all the efforts that they do. Again, not doing much at the moment because there's not much going on, but it must be said, without them we couldn't go racing. So a very big thank you. Bit of a shame that they're not doing anything. Sometimes it's always great to watch a bit of a marshal race or a marshal sweep session. That always brings a bit of a smile to my eye. But these guys, they're hard at work. They've had a long day. They're allowed a bit of rest and relaxation. It's still waiting for confirmation to get going again. We're just hopefully not too far away from getting things going once again. Just waiting, as I said, for that confirmation, that text message to ping through from race control to tell us that we can get going once again. Yeah, should be, once we do get going once again, very, very interesting, Izzy. So
absolutely, Ross, it will get very, very interesting when we get back underway. Like we said, we just see a few of the marshals on at the moment. They just ready to spring into action whenever we're going to need them. Again, absolutely brilliant stuff from them all the time. At the moment, we have got a special guest just joining us in the commentary box. We have got Lauren from House of Moto joining us right now. Hello, Lauren. How are you?
Hi, Izzy. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. This weekend, here supporting Savannah and Daisy Polden. Savannah, just 6 years old, starting with us in the AC40 Rookies this year. How have they been finding it so far?
She's not a massive fan of this track, but she's doing really well. Every time she goes out, she's going faster, she's improving her lines, and yeah, what more can you ask for, really, for a rookie?
And Nellie News topping our highest achieving female rider award at the moment. Her domination year after year, she's just absolutely fabulous.
Yes, yeah, Nellie is just something else. Obviously, we had the pleasure of working with her last year. She's a great little character once you get to know her, and yeah, she's just doing fantastic this season. It's great to see. Great for all the other girls coming up behind her as well.
And House of Moto is your project to support female riders in all different series. What was it that made you want to start that and bring it to motorbike racing?
It was a complete accident, really. So I took quite a lot of inspiration from Angelus over in Italy. I got to work with them for a little bit and all the stuff that they're doing with the young girls over there. And I thought, well, what can I do over here? And Donna, Daisy's mum, reached out to me and she was like, we've got young girls that race over here, why don't you come and see them? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then it's kind of just grown from there and just trying to reach out to more and more younger riders. We've got so many here, it's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the girls, you just see them get more confident every weekend and get themselves involved in the battles. Like when we were first at Leeds, you could tell, especially for some of the younger girls in the rookies, like Savannah, they were a bit nervous. It was their first time. But as the season's going on, they are all just...
Yeah, they're all feisty.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the rookies as well. We've got a group of like 5 or 6 that are doing a fantastic job in the rookies, and each weekend you see them improve, and even though they're not like our sponsored riders, it's still great to watch. It's great to see all of them.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Lauren, to talk.
No worries.
Yeah, and if people want to join House of Moto, are looking to be sponsored or talk about getting involved in racing, how should they go about that?
Yeah, so we're all over social media, every platform really. Just tag us in posts and we'll reshare it and do all of that. This year obviously we also are sponsoring Lucy, who's racing in Saku in the Scottish Championships, and Chloe and Bemsey, and they're both doing a fantastic job in those as well, so we're everywhere.
Well, thank you very much for joining us for a quick little chat, and we will see you over the weekend.
No worries, thanks.
So, Ross, back with us now. How are we looking? What's going to be happening anytime soon?
Well, we can see that the ambulance has returned to position, which means hopefully we can get racing in just a short moment. Whoever that was waving at the camera and was clearly on the phone to someone saying, "Oh, look, you're on camera, wave." Sorry, we were kind of slightly interviewing someone there, but we did see you. Well done. You did make it on the broadcast. Congratulations. As there we see the paramedics just making their way back out now. A big thank you of them, of course, for their quick work and enabling us to go racing. Of course, if these guys weren't here, we really wouldn't be able to go racing at all. So a big thank you to all the medics for their quick work, especially with that incident earlier that brought out the red flag and led to this delay. So hopefully we are able to get going very, very shortly. We are just waiting for a message to ping through from race control, giving us advanced warning saying we are good to go. And in fact, I've actually just seen that message now telling the Mini GP70s to the holding area in 5 minutes. So they'll be in the holding area in 5 minutes. So give it 5 minutes time. We should be just about ready to go racing, and we should have everything done just after 5 o'clock as well, if everything works out nicely. So that all times very, very nicely indeed. As we see there, families, riders, friends, colleagues, all of the above, and a baby apparently going for a little stroll around the circuit. Fair enough, why not? It's a nice part of the world. There's lots of nice farms and trees around here apparently. As they're making their way now, and they've disappeared behind a tree. And of course, if you are sat at home and you've got a young possible rider at home, you know, someone who maybe wants to give bike racing a go, or you want the kid to have a go at bike racing whether they like it or not, don't be afraid to head over to the FAB-Racing website, find out how you can get involved over there. Of course, this is the place to start your bike racing career from as young as 6 years old in the UK. So make sure you head over to the FAB-Racing website, find out more there on how to get involved. As we see there, more of the crowd watching on. They're desperate, they're anxious, they've been waiting for the racing for a while now, but it's almost go time, Izzy, for the Mini GP70s. Of course, one of our main events here at FAB-Racing, and the one that really everyone's eyes is kind of on, because this is the riders that they're going to be going to the British Talent Cup, that are going to be making their way from that into Europe, into Junior GP, into BSB, into whatever. So this is really, really important to see who the stars of tomorrow are today.
Exactly, Ross. Like we were saying earlier, we've been looking at which riders are going to be in the Mini GP70 race. We've only got 6 at the moment, but we are just waiting for them to get out on track and get racing for their first race here at Clay Pigeon this weekend. The riders we have got with us this weekend, though, always a good battle between them, and they are always quite close in running together. On our screens at the moment, we can just see the Pit Bike Sonic, Jamie King and Chris Wells just in the tent next to him, looking like they're getting ready to be going out on the pit bike soon. The battles we see between these guys, they are very good mates, these two, racing in pit bikes, but we don't half see some battles between them on track, Ross, like we did at Hooton Park the other week.
Absolutely, of course. The last 2 reigning pit bike 140 champions, Chris Wells in 2023, Jamie King in 2024. Of course, Jamie King only partially won last year's championship because Chris Wells wasn't here the whole season. Let's be quite brutally frank about it, but consistency is key, and Jamie King was very, very consistent, broke his years-long wind duck as well on the way to a very, very emotional championship, it must be said, and looking like he wants to try and repeat that feat and maybe make it 5 in 2025 as well. We'll have to wait and see if he's got anything in his locker, but he does currently lead the championship ahead of Chris Wells, only by 3 points though, and it's 3 wins, or 2 wins to Wells, 1 win to King apiece so far this season. We've also seen Richard Holmes-Williams sweep the second round in that shortened 2-race round at Ella Park after a delay on Sunday meant we had to end the racing action early, and then Harrison Quincy turned up at Hooton Park and kind of showed everyone how it's supposed to be done. He was really special that weekend.
He was, Ross. We said it whilst we were there. Harrison Quincy, he just awoke something in him when we were at Hooton Park, and he absolutely dominated and really got involved in battles with the other guys. Him and Richard Holmes-Williams were neck and neck throughout the whole weekend, but Harrison Quincy winning all 3 races, brilliant to see from him when we were at Hooton Park, and it'll be really good to see what he brings this weekend. If he can keep a hold of that speed and that pressure he was putting on some of the older guys, and see if he keeps that up this weekend to hopefully get some more race wins this weekend. There we can see some kids on our screens at the moment. They're just waiting for the action to get underway. Probably friends and family of some of our guys racing, and that's always brilliant to see in the paddock as well. It is like a big family supportive unit in the paddock, and it's always brilliant to see. In just a few minutes we will have the Mini GP70s coming out onto track, their first race of the weekend. You always want to be watching these guys. They are the premier class. If you want to get into any other sort of racing series, this is the race you want to be in. This is what everybody's watching. Like Ross was saying, who are the stars of tomorrow going to be today?
Absolutely, and well, with the anticipation that's been building with this longer delay, this race better be good or I'm going to be really annoyed, because we've been waiting a good old while for this 70s race, and finally we are getting some riders in the holding area for the opening race of round number 4 here at Clay Pigeon in the Mastermac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship in the Premier Class in the Metro Kit Mini GP70s. It has been a long old delay, but finally we are getting to go racing. There we just see helmet dipping out of view behind a barrier, I believe that was. Pole sitter Harrison Day, his dad, former BSB rider Josh Day, just walking there in the background as well, ready to have a word with the son. No, walked straight past him and said he's let him focused, he's letting him go in the zone. Of course, the Premier Class of FAB-Racing up in just a few moments. We can see there in the holding area Harrison Day and Logan Cousins now joining them, the number 50 of Josh Wood, and a few other riders coming in as well. Only a 6-bike grid unfortunately this weekend, but again it's all really tight, especially between the top 4. They're running so close to each other, running ridiculously quick lap times as well. So even though it's a small grid, should be a very fascinating race.
Definitely, Ross, and you can see that the spectators are coming around looking, waiting for this race to get underway. They all know that this is the one to watch, just like we know it's the one to watch. Just our riders now just in the holding area, currently leading this championship, running way ahead of everyone else, is Harrison Day at the moment. He is dominating in this class so far this series, with Travis Shaw following him in second. Harrison Day, though, last round at Houghton Park, took all 3 race wins like he did in the first round of the season at Lydd. He had a bit of a trouble in race 1, I remember, at Ella Park, but then he brought that domination straight back on the Sunday and won both races on the Sunday there at Ella Park. So his absolute domination in this series this year is Harrison Day. He's the one to keep your eye on, starting on pole position in just a little bit. But like I said, Travis Shaw following him close behind in second in our standings currently for this championship, with Taylor Tomlinson, the number 77, in third. These 3 guys in top 3 in our championship actually make up our top 3 for the qualifying and the grid for these races. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys do, because these guys all want to be battling for that top position in the championship. Especially, we are halfway through the season. Like Ross said, we are round 4. We've got just 3 rounds left after this weekend, so that is when these guys are really going to be putting in their battles and really noticing who they need to watch, keep an eye on, and make sure they get higher than.
How on earth are we halfway through the season? Honestly don't know. It's flown by in the blink of an eye, but already getting into crunch time, and these guys will really be starting to shape up and push forward, because yes, Harrison Day has a 62-point lead in this championship, but everybody here in this series wants to be crowned the Mini GP70 British champion at the end of it all. Hopefully we are getting ready to head out onto the track shortly. A few riders in the dummy grid. In fact, I think actually some of them may just be going back to the awning quickly, just readjusting something, as we can just having a look under the out of my commentary box window. Just been told they are calling the bikes to the grid now, so they are getting sent out, and yes, there is someone going out. Logan Cousins tried to go out, then changed his mind. Is he coming back in? Are they being sent out? Nobody knows, but we're almost ready to go racing. There are certainly some bikes in the holding area, and some of them would like to get this race started at some point.
Yeah, Ross, we keep looking out of our window because we can see him just there. We're just waiting to see who's going to be. There was a thumbs up there. They're coming out onto grid now. Let's get ready for this first race for the Mini GP70s this weekend. Very eager there is the number 7 of Logan Cousins. He's just finding his grid position. Then they will be sent out on their warm-up lap. We just have Logan Cousins and Harrison Day on the grid at the moment. We'll have to wait and see
Harrison's in the wrong grid box as well.
Here, yeah, he just lined up in the wrong grid box. There he is, just moving over. Just waiting to see who else is going to be coming out onto the track. Could we be seeing, possibly, if no one else comes out to track? Oh no, there we go. I can see one of our other riders there just coming out. No, but there is the risk that if they don't get a move on, they could be timed out. That is the number 12 of Archie Hooper there. Just waiting now to see what's going to be
Travis Shaw, Taylor Tomlinson just coming out on the dummy grid as well. I think we are just waiting for the 12 of Archie Hooper.
No, Archie Hooper, I do believe in that. I think we're just waiting for the number 6.
You are correct.
Wood.
Yes, Josh Wood is the one that we are waiting for. So hopefully he'll be able to join us in a short moment.
But just looking at our sheet at the moment, Ross, at the times these guys were putting in their qualifying sessions, absolute madness from them. All less than 40 seconds really. They're just coming out on their 8 lap now. Let's run through this grid for these riders. Starting on pole position is the number 15 of Harrison Day. Starting in second is the number 4 of Travis Shaw. Third place, the number 7 of Logan Cousins. Fourth, the 77 of Taylor Tomlinson. Fifth, the number 12 of Archie Hooper. And rounding out our grid, starting in sixth position, is the number 50 of Josh Wood. Very few riders here for the Mini GP 70 class this weekend, but I reckon, Ross, we'll be looking at some close battle between all these guys, because all these guys are hungry and they want this championship.
Absolutely. No Josh Wood in sight, unfortunately. So then there were 5 as are we going round? Have we started the race, or are we going round again? Going 2 warm-up laps. Apologies for that one. So 2 warm-up laps there. Bit of a miscommunication, but of course after a big delay I think they're just giving them another go around just to see what's going on. So yeah, looks like there's only 5 bikes making the grid in this one, unfortunately, but as we've been saying, they're all quite close together, and as they're making their way around now, and there is 4 there, we can see on screen. It looks like there is another one just a little bit further, but I believe that is Archie Hoop. He's just hanging back a little bit from this front 4. But what's really interesting as well is when I was watching trackside earlier, Izzy, as we come in, as it's Harrison Day, they're all just coming onto the grid now. Time then for race number 1 in the premier event of the evening. It is the Metrikit Mini GP 70 British Championship. Only 5 bikes out of a scheduled 6 making their way onto the grid, unfortunately, with Harrison Day on pole, Travis Shaw second, Logan Cousins third, Taylor Tomlinson fourth, and Archie Hooper in fifth. All of these riders really close together on the timing sheets, all of them quick at different points of the circuit as well. This should be a fascinating race. It is all eyes to the red lights to kickstart the premier class. It is lights out, we're on the way. Great start there from Harrison Day as he rockets into the lead. Heading down into turn 2, Logan Cousins will be disappointed by that getaway, losing out to Taylor Tomlinson as Travis Shaw tries to pile the pressure on Day as they make their way onto the backstretch for the very first time in this one. Heading down into the hairpin for the first time, all holding position. On this occasion, Harrison Day does lead early doors in this race from pole position. Shaw second, Tomlinson with a good start though, up to third.
Absolutely, Ross. Just look at this, what we can see on our screens at the moment. Shaw is hot on the tail of Harrison Day. He's getting very close, just 0.1 seconds separating these two. As we've come into our second lap, just 11 laps left to go in this race for the MK Mini GP 70, the premier class of racing. Harrison Day currently leading in pole position, but look at that. Travis Shaw is so hot on his tail. He's greedy and hungry to get the win in this first race, looking to make a move every so often, but just can't quite get the speed and the power to be able to get out and make that move on Harrison Day. But a brilliant start for both of these riders, pulling away from the rest of the group. Just coming now onto that start-finish straight, Harrison Day leading ahead of Travis Shaw, Taylor Tomlinson in P3, Logan Cousins in P4 with Archie Hooper in P5. But these guys battle every weekend when we are with FAB-Racing. There is never a quiet race between these guys. Travis Shaw hot on the tail of Harrison Day. They're just coming round that chicane now. Travis Shaw still constantly looking to get that move past Harrison Day, but can't quite get the power out of his bike to do it. These guys are tight together though. Look at that, nearly wheel and wheel between these two now. So coming round again from that final corner, 9 laps of racing left to go. Harrison Day leading ahead of Travis Shaw.
Shaw with a big look to the inside there, down into turn 2. Didn't come to anything, but again, he's looking left, looking right, assessing options early in this race. But if he wants to try and launch a move, another big look to the inside there, down into the hairpin at the bottom end of the circuit before they loop back round on themselves again, looking to that inside line. Harrison Day clearly happy not defending too hard at the moment. He's leaving opportunities there. He's just trusting himself to be quick enough on the bike as it is just to stay in front, even though there's such a tight distance between them. It is Day that still leads with 8 laps left to go now. Shaw in P2. Shaw fastest lap of the race by 200ths of a second on the last lap as Shaw went up the inside but went deep, and Day slides back through. So Harrison Day will hold on to the lead. That's the first real attack we've seen from Travis Shaw though.
Absolutely, Ross, and he was clever with that. He just made it so quick and so easy there that Harrison Day had a moment of, whoa, Shaw's gone past me, I need to get that back. And then luckily for him, Shaw ran that a little bit too wide, that gave him that gap, gave him the opportunity to sneak back through and take back that first position. These two playing a game with each other, but Harrison Day, as soon as he's on that start-finish straight on the throttle, builds a bit of a gap ahead of Shaw, but Shaw catches back up to him in those braking zones. Like you said, Ross, accordion effect, these two riders getting very close together. These are our guys running in 3rd and 4th, the 77 of Taylor Tomlinson and the number 7 of Logan Cousins. We are back with our race leaders now. Harrison Day holding on, not being, like you said, Ross, too defensive, but comfortable knowing he can get what he can out of that bike to hold on to the lead ahead of Shaw. And there we see the number 7 of Logan Cousins has just made that move on the 77 of Taylor Tomlinson. Logan Cousins, that was smooth, that looked quick and easy for him, and he's now running in 3rd in this race ahead of the 77 of Taylor Tomlinson.
Textbook move there by Logan Cousins, just shoving his opponent out of the way. Well, it's probably the easiest way to confirm a move in racing. And the number 7 now sitting pretty up in P3. How does the 77 of Taylor Tomlinson respond as they head into the hairpin? Nothing on that occasion. A little bit too far back. This track this year, it seems to have been a track where you have to set the move up much, much earlier than you'd expect, as we normally see in FAB-Racing. See a lot of riders setting up a move down into turn 2 before we even get to the final corner. You've got to really rely on your momentum and rely on your continued speed. Travis Shaw, does he fancy anything again? This time, Harrison Day goes defensive. So now we know that Day's a bit worried into turn 1. He's seen that Shaw's got past him before, even though that move ultimately wasn't confirmed, and Day was able to get back in front. And look at that again, hugging that inside a little bit tighter. Now he's starting to defend. This is where the advantage flips one way or the other. It either gives the advantage to Shaw on pace because of how Day is costing himself, or Day is able just to lock it down completely and hold on.
Yeah, Ross, exactly what you're saying. Just 5 laps of racing left to go. Harrison Day looks like though this defensive moves he's making and holding on. No, but Shaw has just gone through on the inside again on that turn 1. Harrison Day is going to look to get that back if Shaw runs wide again, and Harrison Day has done it. Harrison Day takes back the lead of this race. Like I was saying, these two are playing a game with each other. It's cat and mouse. Who is going to take the lead and who is going to be able to hold on to it? Both of them want it desperately. You can see how hungry they both are to win this race, but Harrison Day now has that first place position back from Travis Shaw, and he's going to be looking now, coming round that final corner, back onto the start finish straight. He's going to be looking and thinking, how can I be defensive in turn 1? That's the second time he's done that now. He's got to be thinking, how can I be defensive enough to stop it from happening again? Shaw looked to make the move, but Harrison Day cut right across him then. He knows what he needs to do now to make sure that turn 1 where Shaw was catching him doesn't happen again. We've got just 3 laps left to go. Harrison Day running in P1, absolute defensive riding from him we are seeing now, because Travis Shaw went on the hunt, caught him for a little bit, but Harrison Day has said no thank you, I am winning this race, and has gone straight on the defensive. You can see how in control of his bike is though, Harrison Day. He's comfortable with it. He knows what he needs to do now. Sure, looking to make a move there. They were nearly wheel and wheel, but Harrison Day holding on to that lead with ease. Now look at that. He knew what he needed to do to stop short in that first corner. He's done it. He knows his racing line now, and he's going to stick to that for these final 2 laps of this race. Amazing riding we have seen from these two running in P1 and P2 respectively. Travis Shaw fighting and getting as much as he can out his bike. He wants to look. He knows he's got 2 laps. Knows he only has 2 laps to try and get that move on Harrison Day and take that P1 position. Coming around that final corner now, Harrison Day leading. We have got just 1 lap of a racing left. Sure, he's going to be looking to get a move now into this first corner. He knew that's where he could do it last. Went to look a bit wide. That didn't work out for him. That could have cost him a little bit there. Harrison Day holding on to that lead. Look how tight he is around those corners. He knows that's the racing line that's going to work for him. Coming round now, they've just come through that chicane. Coming round the hairpin now, Harrison Day holding his lead. 1 lap left to go. Not even a lap left between these two guys. Harrison Day, race leader currently. Is he going to hold on to it? Now it's a Mini GP70 Premier class of racing coming round that final corner now. Who is going to be our race winner? Is it going to be Harrison Day or Travis Shaw? It will be Harrison Day. Takes the race win. Harrison Day is our race winner for race number 1 of the Mini GP70 here at Clay Pigeon Circuit. Absolute brilliant performance between these two there. Both giving that little wave of respect to each other. There is our race winner and our rider in P2 on our screens right now. Logan Cousins coming in 3rd, Taylor Tomlinson in 4th, and Archie Hooper in 5th. But Harrison Day, like we were saying, dominated the season so far and has absolutely dominated that race again there. He's going to be looking to do the same in race 2 and 3 tomorrow, Ross.
Well, we saw Harrison Day placing the hypothetical crown on his head for the camera as well. We might as well do it anyway. That is the 9th win out of 9 races so far this season, and he's not been untouchable. We saw in that it was close. Travis Shaw got through a couple of times, but at the end he's almost inevitable on that 15 bike, and another fantastic ride. Kudos to Travis Shaw for giving it a good go. He will be desperate for that first win of the season for himself, the first win of anyone else. That won't be Harrison Day, and surely it will come soon. But for now, there is nobody touching that number 15. It's Harrison Day on top once again. 2 more races to come in the Metrokit Mini GP70 British Championship tomorrow. 1 more race to come today, but that was fascinating. Who needs a big grid? 5 bikes in that one, but it was as close as you like.
Coming now onto the track is our final race for today. It is race 1 of the Pit Bike 140s. Now, I do think this is the biggest grid we have seen for these guys so far this season. Lots of riders joining us this weekend here at Clay Pigeon. Gonna make some very exciting stuff with all these guys involved in the Pit Bikes 140s. Houghton Park, they provided us some great stuff. Harrison Quincy, he performed brilliantly at Houghton Park and dominated there, like we were talking about earlier. But now we see all our riders are just coming out onto track for the final race of the day, waiting to be let go on their 8 lap, and then we will give you a quick little run through of who is starting where on the grid. But these guys, always brilliant racing from them. Some of the older guys, we also have some younger guys in there like Harrison Quincy. Age doesn't really seem to be an issue in this one. Everybody is so highly competitive with each other, and it's going to be some brilliant stuff we're going to see from an action from them this afternoon in the first race of the Pit Bike 140s, our final race of the day of the first day of racing here at Clay Pigeon. Just still waiting now. I think we're waiting for a few more riders just to get to the grid. Then everybody will be sent out on their out lap. If you've got a pit bike and you'd want to look at joining us here at FAB-Racing, do check the FAB-Racing website. We are welcoming of all here in the FAB-Racing community. The road to MotoGP. If you want a career, this is where you start. Oh, I think we've just had a little issue there of position of who's starting where, so that should hopefully just be sorted out, and then the out lap can start. There is our marshal there, Lucy Curtis, sister to Bradley Curtis. She's helping out this weekend weekend. We have no Lee with us this weekend, so she is covering for Lee this weekend, Ross.
Yeah, Lee Clowes, our regular flag marshal, off at a wedding this weekend, so I hope she's enjoying that. Big congratulations to everyone there. Let's have a little run through the grid, shall we, of 22 riders. It's Harrison Quincy who starts on pole. Ollie Horner alongside him on the number 70. Richard Holmes-Williams starts in P3 with Jamie King in P4. Chris Wells is 5th alongside Samuel Munson, with Simon Gates and Keaton Payne on row number 4. Ashley Powell and Bailey Lawrence round out the top 10, with Perry Thompson at 11th and Gary Lewington in P12. Dan French is 13th alongside Daniel Gilbert, with Bradley Powell going off for 15th and Darren Lewington in P16. Stephen Foote is 17th with Ruben Bright 18th. Rory Jones is 19th alongside Matthew Rayland in 20th, with Robert Leveridge and James Barracliff rounding out our 22 rider grid. Now last year, Izzy, the Pit Bike 140s was absolutely phenomenal around here. This year I'm expecting more of the same.
Yeah, hopefully, Ross. Like I was saying just the other weekend, they were phenomenal at Hooton Park. Our final race of the weekend was these guys, and they didn't disappoint at all. There we can see everybody's just making their final few positions up, and then the first race for the Pit Bike 140s of this weekend at Clay Pigeon Raceway will be underway, and it's eyes to the lights, and it's lights out and away we go. A little jump there, I think that was from Richard Holmes-Williams, but Harrison Quincy started well, holding on to his lead there. Let's see what's going to happen. Running behind him is the 1-1-10, I believe. Oh no, the 70 of Ollie Horner, and then behind him is Jamie King running in P3. Absolutely brilliant stuff we are seeing from him there, with Richard Holmes-Williams rounding out our top 4. These guys are packed close together in this first lap. We're just going to have to wait and see what will happen between these guys. It looks like Ollie Horner has made the move on Harrison Quincy, though, now leading the race. Currently we've got just 11 laps of racing left to go. Ollie Horner leading ahead of Harrison Quincy. Richard Holmes-Williams has made that move, passed through on Jamie King, with Chris Wells following behind Jamie King in P5.
Yeah, really tight racing out there. Small mistake from King coming through the chicane, so top 3 extending that gap just a little bit. Of course, this is happy hunting ground for Jamie King. Crowned himself 4-time champion here last year, albeit with a very sore head after celebrating his championship a race early. Thought he actually won it when he needed an extra point. Celebrated too hard, got kicked out of a Wetherspoons, and then managed to clinch it, bringing home a very quiet race the next day. But he's still looking for a way back through. Richard Holmes-Williams has a look, but maybe under attack himself from Chris Wells, just about stays in front. As look at this, it's like a Moto3 race out there, all of them in single file, so close together. The top 7, the top 8, all so close. Ollie Horner on the number 70, he's not raced properly full time in a number of years now. We last saw him in the R&G British Talent Cup a few seasons ago. He's come back here at Clay Pigeon, and he's leading early doors here in race 1 of the Pit Bike 140s, but it's not over yet because there's 9 laps left to go at the line, and look at how close they all are. Just one little mistake or one big lunge, it's all change at the front.
Exactly, Ross. Ollie Horner leading this race, though. He's had a bit of a break and he has come back all guns are blazing, and he's making his mark and making his name known, telling the other guys, I'm not here just for a bit of fun, I'm here to race and I'm here to win, so come on, bring what you've got against me. But Harrison Quincy running in second behind him, one of our youngest pit bike riders on the grid. Like I was saying, at Hooton Park, absolutely dominated. He's going to be looking to hunt down Horner so he can continue that this weekend here at Clay Pigeon. But Richard Holmes-Williams, the battles we saw between him and Harrison Quincy the other week, that seems to be continuing this weekend. Harrison Quincy on that start-finish straight gets a bit more speed ahead of Richard Holmes-Williams, but then Holmes-Williams catches up in these corners. It's like we always say, everybody bunches up, they get so close together, and then it's on these straights where you see the spacing out start to happen, and people have got to hope that through the corners they can hold on that, through that hairpin here, they can hold that gap, else people are going to start catching up with them, and then we are going to be seeing some brilliant battles. Just 8 laps left to go. Brilliant stuff we are seeing from them. Ollie Horner leading ahead of Harrison Quincy. Richard Holmes-Williams running in P3, moving on to the outside, looking to make a move there, but couldn't quite do it. Harrison Quincy is on the hunt though. He can see Ollie Horner is just millimeters ahead of him, and he's going to look to make that move and take that first position. Just 7 laps of racing left to go.
Pit by Sonic down to P6. Jamie King losing a couple of positions to Chris Wells and Sam Munson on the previous lap, who then themselves having a huge battle as well. These guys just trading places like there's no tomorrow. With almost 6 laps left, Ron Horner still holding on at the front of this pack, but hot in chase. Quincy, Holmes-Williams, Wells, Munson, King, Simon Gates there as well. It is so close, far too close to call out there as they bomb their way down to turn 2. Holmes-Williams pulls the pin. That's a lovely move from the 126 up the inside of Harrison Quincy down at turn 2. Makes it P2 for Richard Holmes-Williams. Can he find his way in front of Ollie Horner and make it a race lead? As we're seeing more moves maybe being made in the background, certainly being thought about. That's once again Munson and Chris Wells having a go on each other. Horner leaves the inside open maybe for Richard Holmes-Williams, who isn't quite able to capitalise maybe the switch back into the final corner, but he decides against it, decides to hold off for the time being, maybe try set up into turn 2 once again. He seems confident into that part of the racetrack, but straight back through goes Quincy on the inside. Holmes-Williams with the inside for turn 2 though, and he'll just about hold on to that one, but we've got a huge fight for the lead on our hands. And as the laps start to tick away, it's just going to get more and more and more ferocious.
Exactly, Ross. 5 laps left to go, and Holmes, Williams and Quincy are staying very close to each other. Richard Holmes-Williams on the tightest little bit on that back tyre of Ollie Horner, looking to make the move, and that is through. On the inside goes Richard Holmes-Williams. He now leads this race ahead of Ollie Horner in P2 and Harrison Quincy in P3. Ollie Horner though, back with us. We spoke to him earlier. He wasn't expecting any sort of podium or win this year. Oh, it does look like he might have had a little issue there. He has just dropped back quite a few positions there. I think he might be having some issues with his bike there. Looks like he can't quite get the throttle working again. That is unfortunate for him. But Samuel Munson at the moment, he's worked his way through ahead of Chris Wells and Jamie King, and he's now got Harrison Quincy in his sights. So Harrison Quincy is now going to have to go on the defensive for that P3 position. Just some back marker traffic there. We can see everybody coming through, but look at this, that's 72 of Samuel Munson. He is on the hunt. He wants that position from Harrison Quincy, but Chris Wells looking to make a move then on Munson. These guys are always looking to make moves, always have opportunities at this track to be able to make such moves on each other. Richard Holmes-Williams though leading this race ahead of Harrison Quincy now in P2.
Not sure how long it's going to last though, because they're starting to catch up to some traffic. Chris Wells, wow, what a save. The 62 all sorts of crossed up as a rider off the road as well. Problems everywhere we look out of nowhere. I believe that is Ollie Horner on the 70 who's decided to stop. Let's see if he's able to continue onwards as we cut back to our leaders. Richard Holmes-Williams gap just over a second. Wells looks to the inside of Munson there. They're now fighting for a podium place. Man, oh man, this race just kicked off in the last lap and a half. And with 2 laps left to go, it's anyone's guess who's going to be finishing anywhere, because they're all over each other. They're now in the lap traffic as well. This has given Richard Holmes-Williams a chance to get more breathing room behind him, extend that gap further. But the likes of Quincy, Munson, Wells, King, it's going to mix some ride up. It could be chaos as we're going on to the final lap.
Yeah, that traffic is holding up Munson a hell of a lot there, with Harrison Quincy able to build a bit of a gap and hold on to that second position. We have just got 1 lap left to go. The first race for the Pick Bike 140s here at Clay Pigeon. Richard Holmes-Williams built that gap, has got away from everyone. He is confirmed race winner there, with Harrison Quincy following closely in second place. Munson really caught up in that lap traffic though. That is unfortunate for him, but Harrison Quincy has got through and is holding on to second position. Here we can see our race leader Richard Holmes-Williams coming round through into that final corner now. Here he is. Richard Holmes-Williams is going to take the first race win for the Pit Bike 140s here at Clay Pigeon. Richard Holmes-Williams, your winner here at Clay Pigeon. First race for the Pit Bike 140s and final race of today. Brilliant action we are seeing from these guys. Harrison Quincy crosses the line in second, with Chris Wells in third. He got a move done on Samuel Munson last minute. And rounding out our top 5 is Jamie King. Pit bikes, you never know what to expect. Anything can happen, and that race there, Ross, has just proved it to us.
Absolutely, what a race we've just seen. Richard Holmes-Williams picks up his first win since the second round at Ella Park. Harrison Quincy held up by traffic in the end. Chris Wells takes a massive podium. Late drama for Ollie Horner left him from first down to P9 in the end, as Munson and King again very, very close to each other across the line as well. It's Richard Holmes-Williams who takes a fantastic opening win of the weekend here at Clay Pigeon, with Harrison Quincy second and Chris Wells in P3. Samuel Munson was fourth. I'm not sure who Bray is, but Jamie King was in P5, with Simon Gates in sixth, with Keaton Payne P7, Ashley Powell in P8, Ollie Horner ninth, and Bailey Lawrence in P10. Just a reminder, of course, those results are provisional. They need to be confirmed by race control. Could be post-race penalties. You never know with motorsport. We'll have to wait and see. A real shame for Ollie Horner, of course. Running super well, and then problems maybe with the bike, maybe a mistake as well, sliding in here and there, ultimately finishing in P9 at the end of the day. But it's all about one man. It's Richard Holmes-Williams with a fine ride, a fine performance, and a well-deserved victory.
Exactly, Ross. Well-deserved victory for him indeed. We can just see everyone now coming round into the holding area, just celebrating those top three for the final race of today for the Pit Bike 140s. Tomorrow, the final two races for every one of our classes here at FAB-Racing. It's going to be some interesting and exciting racing we're going to be seeing tomorrow. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and let us know where you're joining from and who you're going to be supporting tomorrow for those final two races.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining us for a fantastic day as action here at Clay Pigeon. We'll be back for two more rounds tomorrow here at the Mastermark FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship.